Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Co-Optional Podcast. It is the 8th of April, unless you are watching on YouTube, in which case it probably isn't.
There you go, math.
Already
science,
dated the
logic.
show.
Yeah, not of 2014 anyway.
No.
You really could be watching this at any point in time in history.
It's incredible, isn't it, really?
We could be long dead.
We could be, oh wow, this could be in the future where they showed like, this is what the internet was like in the year 2014. And this could be us, and we could be, dear denizens of the future, know that your alien and/or robot overlords were always better than you. And should they ever decide to clone someone from the past, I'd be more than willing to come back.
Let's also establish that
Yes.
despite the internet maybe making you think otherwise, we don't worship cats here. At this point in the past, we don't worship cats. We just think they're real cute.
Can I bring up a point?
What?
We think the Egyptians worship cats. Can we just assume that
they
hieroglyphics was just ancient Tumblr?
Yep.
That's all that was.
It's true.
And now it's all coming full circle, people. Oh no.
Everything we knew was wrong. Welcome to the Co-Optional Podcast.
Yeah. This is a show that we do. Not promised it's going to be any good, but it is a show. Returning guest from the past. We dredged him up.
Wow, this is really, really offensive terminology. Dredged me up like from a seabed or something
bottom.
like that.
Some call him Discount Moby. It is NorthernLion. Welcome back to the show.
It's good to be here. I get discount TotalBiscuit more than I get discount Moby.
I still have more hair than you. Like, I'm actually somehow in that. But I don't know what it is. You've just gone for the whole all over. I haven't plucked up the courage to do that yet. I probably should.
Well, necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah, no doubt about that. For those who don't know what do you do, and where do you do it?
It's kind of a personal question, but professionally, I'm on youtube.com/NorthernLion, where I largely play The Binding of Isaac and other roguelites like Spelunky, FTL, stuff like that. Dark Souls 2, which is separate from that, but that's what I do, basically.
Good.
That was he was just like, good. You do that.
Playing Binding of Isaac so we don't have to.
Wow.
You're effectively a saint of the internet, let's be honest.
That game is so good, though.
Oh, I
Crazy.
hate it.
It's all right. Yeah.
What? Oh, we've had this conversation before.
Yeah,
I act
Binding of
surprised,
Isaac
but when I
2.
actually think about
BI2,
Our past
what if that
conversations.
comes out?
dose. Hey, we got Mugenics coming. I'm really excited for that game.
I wonder why.
I don't worship cats, but I'm really excited to make really messed up cats and watch them interact with each other.
Great. Because you can't do that in real life, not even in LA.
You can't. No, you can't. You can't do that.
You will go to jail.
You will straight up,
You
yeah.
will be in jail.
You have to at least have a cool lab coat to get away with that stuff.
Welcome to the Co-Optional Podcast. We do occasionally talk about video games, I promise. Jesse, welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody. I today woke up and remembered a tweet I saw from Mr. Strippin a long time ago, maybe like a week or two ago, that was like, man, I want McDonald's. And I thought today, I'm up so damn early. This is the first time I can have a McDonald's bacon, egg, and cheese breakfast sandwich in like 4 years. And I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. So I drove to McDonald's, got a bacon, egg, and cheese breakfast sandwich. I ate that, and it was delicious until about 45 minutes ago, and now I feel sick as a dog. And if I have to leave during this to go poo, that's why.
Good to know.
Yep.
Your first mistake was trying to buy food from McDonald's. Your second mistake was trying to eat the food from McDonald's.
It tasted so good at the time. It was delicious.
A lie.
And then I was just like, I don't know. Right before we started, I was like, oh, something's not right here.
Basically, McDonald's is the deodorant, the Axe deodorant of foods, yeah? Basically, Axe deodorant is used to mask the fact that you're a horrible, unhygienic human being. Basically, the initial taste of McDonald's is that.
Now I'm imagining eating Axe deodorant. This conversation.
God. That shit
is
tastes
worst.
horrible.
Now I'm imagining women trying to jump down your throat, like in the commercials. You spray the Axe in your mouth, and women try to rip your mouth open. That's a horror movie. Because in the Axe commercials, when you spray it on you,
Where
women
did that come
fly out of
from?
nowhere.
Yeah, they don't crawl in their mouth. That's not
You just
hot.
ate it. You
No.
just ate it. So now women are jumping down your mouth. That
Oh
is.
my God, that could be me.
What?
You're welcome,
What?
internet, because that is now that's some type of Rule 34 right there. That is Axe
Somebody's
body
into that.
spray.
6
erotica.
minutes in, and we're on to the vor, Dodger, welcome to the show.
Hi. If it makes you feel better, Jesse, Sam and I made the exact same mistake last night. We were both like, God, like, just don't want to cook. Like, it's really late. We should do something easy. And I was like, man, we haven't had McDonald's in a long time. You want McDonald's? And he was like, yeah, let's do McDonald's. We had the most fevered nightmares the entire night. We woke up in the morning. We were both just like, God, what happened? We were just like,
Brain
oh.
parasites.
There's many, I think like 2 years ago at this point, we did an episode of Cox and Crendor that was literally about McDonald's and how if you want it, you're just like, I want McDonald's. And there's nothing that can stop you from getting McDonald's. You want it. And then when you get it, you're like, why did I want that so bad? It's some type of addiction.
I don't understand. Like, at no point in my life, outside of at least me being 5 years old, have I ever said, God, I really want McDonald's. McDonald's is desperation. Here's an example of when I ate McDonald's. I was in New York to do the Red Bull tournament, and my team was playing GSTL in Korea at like 5 a.m. So basically, I hadn't slept for 3 days because this tournament dragged on. So I'd done a couple of days of casting on zero sleep. I was almost delusional. I could barely walk. It was freezing outside in New York. It was just ice and whipping winds everywhere. And I just saw in the distance through kind of one squinted eye, the big yellow M glowing. It's like, some food in this desert of cold, terrible weather. And I regretted it instantly. You know what? I would have been better off starving and dying of lack of sleep. It would have been better because I bought 20 McNuggets and I ate all of them, and I felt not only bad inside, but guilty on a spiritual level. It was terrible. Why? McDonald's doesn't do anything that's good. Nothing.
I can't wait until the first ad break and it's just like McDonald's, Axe body spray. And like, ooh.
Like, we think you might be interested in these things.
Yeah, like no, absolutely not. I don't understand. Everything that McDonald's does, there are other places that do that thing better. So I get them from there. But, you know, this is American McDonald's. So in other countries, McDonald's is pretty good in places.
See, when you say that, it makes me say like, oh, well, maybe I'll give it a chance overseas. No, you just need to cut it off. But you can't, because it's all you hear when you see those golden arches is ba-da-ba-ba-ba, and it's in, they've got you.
I'm loving it.
I love it so much. I love it. I want more of it.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely hate it.
It is the worst, but when it's there, it exists. And
yeah, it exists. That's what the best thing you can say about McDonald's. It's there if you need it.
And it exists
like
you
a
won't-
med kit.
You won't starve. I mean,
Or
there
laxatives.
you go.
There was
It's not even-
there was a food podcast that was talking about. I listen to food podcasts. Okay, there was a food podcast
Why?
that was talking about
Why am I
how
surprised?
there are long studies about the exact combination of salt and sugar, and there was one other thing. Can't remember what the trifecta is, but they're these three elements that if you combine them in just the right way, it creates a very addictive property, and that's what
Isn't
fast
that-
food companies use.
Is that sort of like umami with like the flavor combo?
The savory.
Yes, the
No,
same.
umami is a type of taste in your mouth.
Isn't that a type of taste?
Yes.
Anyway, no, I was gonna say for a brief period in ninth grade, I worked in McDonald's. True facts. And I'm gonna let you in on a story that will blow your mind. McDonald's French fries, before they arrive at McDonald's, are coated in sugar before they're then deep fried. That's why kids love McDonald's French fries so much. Fact. It's not a lie. I work there, man. True story.
God.
That's super weird.
That's
What?
super terrible and evil.
So basically, you get like a sugar rush when you eat their fries,
That's horrible.
but you don't taste it because all the salt and the fat that's been fried in.
Great, so it's even worse for you than regular fries. That's
Oh
impressive.
yes, no, it's made to be addictive, so you want more of it.
Incredible. All right, let's talk a little bit about video games, shall we?
Sorry, what?
Yeah, those things. They exist from time to time.
Listen, Moby, I know you don't eat McDonald's, but I've had it up to here with you.
I don't want to go back on the McDonald's tangent, but I embrace the
But
fact
you
that
did
it's
it
forward-
anyway.
We're going to.
Look,
We're going to.
I'm the guest. Show me the courtesy.
Oh, by all means, continue.
I embrace the fact that McDonald's is something you get in like a desperation move, but I also kind of embrace that. Like, I'm like, oh, I hate myself, but I love that I'm hating myself right now. I don't know what kind of twisted mental place that comes from, but I'm totally into it.
All fast
Yeah.
food has its specific purpose. Taco Bell is 4 a.m. drunk, right? Wendy's is when you feel like you want to try to pretend like you're eating better, but you're not, right? Everything has its purpose.
Spicy nugs.
Oh, spicy chicken sandwich at Wendy's. Mwah. Right? Like those things, they all have a purpose. They're all lies. It's all lying to yourself, but they have a purpose. That's why they exist.
Video games. Video games, and video games.
Lana
and
Del Rey.
Video games.
Okay.
Most video games. NorthernLion, what have you been playing this week?
I've been playing a lot of FTL Advanced Edition, and I know you've been doing the same, and it's kind of becoming an obsession.
Fucking only thing I've been playing since I got back from bloody Game Vid Expo. I can't stop.
It's really good. It's like completely renewed my interest in that game. Not that it even necessarily needed it because it was already super addictive. But yeah, all the stuff they added in the new DLC is actually awesome. And I got the iPad version. I'm just tooling around with that when I'm like rendering FTL videos on my computer. Then I'm playing FTL on the iPad, and it's just all consuming basically.
Yeah, I made the horrible mistake of getting on iPad as well. It's like, well, I can get away from FTL and play some FTL. Let's go. The iPad version. Not terrible, actually. Pretty good.
I really like it, yeah. I think, like, what's weird about it is that usually when I think of, like, games that I want to play on mobile devices, it's like, I want something that's casual. I can play, like, many rounds of it. Maybe they're, like, 2 to 5 minutes each or something like that. But FTL can still be, like, an hour or two.
Oh, yeah,
so
totally.
If you have a commute, that could be, like, your week's commute or something like that if you're on the bus. Or, you know, it's not a game that you can play while defecating unless you have some gastrointestinal problems, is what I would probably say.
Well, thankfully, it does pause pretty much whenever.
Sounds like a
I don't know
perfect
about
game.
that.
Yeah.
The controls are pretty good, honestly. Like, surprisingly. They're not as good as the PC, but they're pretty damn close.
Yeah. It's
I'm
kind of
assuming-
annoying to have to you have to micro a little bit and like click on different sides of the screen to pull out different modules, but it's really
you can't have everything up
satisfying.
at once.
Yeah, it's really satisfying to like pull the power down in something and then swipe it back
just-
up.
Yeah, that's just brilliant. It's like illuminate, deluminate. If they had any sense, they'd have voice control on that thing. That would be incredible. Raise the shields, lower the shields.
You're on the plane. You're just that guy.
Yeah, shut down life support.
Yeah, blow up the bomb. I don't know if it would be the perfect game to take through American airports, at least.
Maybe not.
Yeah, so FTL's really good. And between that and Dark Souls 2, that's basically just been my life for the past week or so, and probably for the next 15 years, maybe.
Yep, I'm waiting for...
Wow.
We're trying to get PC code for Dark Souls 2. Have not got it yet. We know that other people certainly do have it. I believe Giant Bomb released a quick look today, which is worth watching on the website because it's in 60 frames per second, so you can actually watch what it's supposed to look like. Apparently the PC port is looking pretty good. There's some disappointment that the lighting system that they showed off in all of the trailers and shit, they took it out. Apparently couldn't do that.
Really?
Yeah. This has been happening a lot lately, honestly. Yeah, it's
Where they
weird.
say, "Aren't you really excited about this thing?"
And then they
it's just
downgrade
like
it.
not there.
I feel like it's been happening for a long time, but we've only become sort of hyper aware of it very recently with things like, say, Watch Dogs. You know, that's a game that they brought out the original footage. It looked incredible, mind blowing, absolutely amazing. And then we saw footage of it and saw, it kind of looks like that now. All right, that's not as next gen as we were hoping for.
Do we know inside the studios why this happens? I assume it's technology based and
Yeah,
what
they
can pull off with
can't
consoles.
hit the target frame rate, probably. You know, they say, oh, yeah, we're totally going to do this, guys. And then they, like, well, it's 4 weeks before launch. We're at 20 frames per second. This shit won't fly. All right, let's go back to the old one. That's my assumption, at any rate.
But shouldn't this be something that they figure out well in advance? Like, I feel like...
You think so?
I feel like it happens all the time, and you see like the launch, you see like all these trailers, and it's like, holy crap, this is great, and then launch trailer, it's like, hold the phone, what is happening here? And I don't know. The last time I remember being impressed with a launch trailer was Skyrim, and that was years ago. And that was just a cool launch trailer because it was like, it's got music and dragons, and there's the thing, like it just looked cool. But mostly since then, it's just been every trailer leading up to launch is like, this is freaking awesome, and then it's like, oh, okay, this is what we get. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, bull shots have been around for the longest time, and also like showing. You remember the good old Killzone 2 shit, where it was like, here's some pre-rendered footage that we're claiming is real and actually isn't. You know, that's some of the biggest scandals that have been involved in that. But lately, it's not really been that. It's more a case of, we're going to show you what we claim is gameplay at E3, and then when you actually see the gameplay live, it doesn't look that good. Like, they've had to downgrade it at some point during the development process. And PC gamers in particular get very upset about that, because we usually blame it on the console peasants for that. It's their fault. If they weren't playing on the toys, then we'll be all right.
Do you think that this situation has arisen more as we've complained about the footage we've been shown being cutscenes? Like, the more that we're like, we want to see in-game footage, show us in-game footage. And then they're like, yeah, we'll show you in-game footage of gameplay, not cutscenes. Totally. And then they render out something that looks really good so that everybody's like, oh, it's gameplay. Did you hear it's gameplay? Oh my God. But they can't live up to it.
It's the same thing with, I think, Minecraft. There are people and programs that can render Minecraft, for example, to look beautiful. But it's only that, like only a really great screenshot or a really quick like pan through something. But most of the time it's the blocks, right? And it's one of those things where every once in a while you see a Minecraft image, you're like, God damn, that is gorgeous. And then if you ever go actually visit it, it's like, oh, well, the 25,000 things he had to do in order to get this one shot right. Yeah, all right, I see that now. And it did what it was supposed to do. It made me go, oh, wow, that's amazing. But in reality, it's very different. I think it's a very similar example of how you can easily pull that off.
It's almost turning it into fast food photography, isn't it?
I was totally going to say that.
When you see the menus,
Full
like
circle.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, you see that, oh, look at that Big Mac, look at that, and they've like very specifically touched it up and everything to make it look incredible when you get the final product. And I certainly don't think that they can get away with it. Like, not compared to that. Okay, fine. No one expects McDonald's to actually be that good. It's kind of bullshit the way that it looks that way, but you can't do that to a video game. That's not okay.
Listen, I'm not going to stand for your slander of the McDonald's Corporation.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible to see that happening. I understand that some compromises sometimes have to be made, but at the end of the day, if you're advertising things like a kind of revolutionary new lighting system for your game, and then you just don't put it fucking in the game, then yeah, you absolutely should object to that. Doesn't seem reasonable, really.
But that sort of thing happens all the time, and I guess it's one of those situations where lots of promises in order to get hype built for the game, or investors in the game, or something where they actually have a goal about whether, like, if you've been to any BlizzCon, you know that shit happens all the time. Blizzard's like, Path of the Titans, it's coming. No word.
Every expansion, there's one feature missing that never fucking comes. Yeah.
Dance Studio, it'll be there. No Dance Studio.
No.
Like, people do that all the time, and I guess you can't really hate on a developer for doing that, but the fact that they make it so prominent, it's obvious that things happen in games that we never see. Like, there's probably many games that have been released that have many features that we have never seen that were probably awesome, but they just cut them for whatever reason. But I feel like the fact that they make it so public,
don't tell us about it then.
Yeah, that's their fault. Like, if they would have kept it quiet and not said a thing, and then when it released, like, oh, by the way, we now have this awesome lighting system, it would have blown people away. But instead, they hyped up something that wasn't ready, and it's their own damn fault.
Well, I mean, then they're supposed to counter argument to that is, if they don't very specifically advertise something like, say, the lighting system and really push it, and then they show something at E3 which looks better than the final product, is there like a level of expectation, like of just being reasonable, that a consumer should have to satisfy in order to really be able to complain about that, because it seems to me if you do watch stuff at E3 and it's like a year and a half out, and then when the final product comes along it doesn't look like that, you almost forfeit your right to really be upset about that. And it does seem to me that people get so emotionally invested in these games so early on that that's why they end up getting upset when the game comes out and it's not like the trailer they showed 2 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
It's gotta be that, surely. But
What
still,
I will say is that Dark Souls 2 is still wonderful, even if it doesn't look fantastic. It actually, like, I was playing on the 360, and it looks terrible, blown up. It looks like it could have come out like 4 years ago.
Of course it looks terrible.
Exactly. And even if the PC version looks that bad, I would still recommend it. It's still easily, for me at least, a contender for Game of the Year. But not everybody's into that kind of experience. But if you like Dark Souls 1, I think you will definitely like Dark Souls 2.
I wonder. I was big into Demon Souls and never really got into Dark Souls somehow. It never hooked me the way Demon Souls did. So we'll see if Dark Souls 2 does that. We'll see.
I would say that being somebody who also played Demon Souls and then didn't really play Dark Souls and has now played Dark Souls 2, that Dark Souls 2 gives you more of a motivation to do things. Like, Demon Souls to me felt like I'm gonna go kill stuff and try not to die, but like Dark Souls 2 has more of a story, more of a framework, I guess. Okay. You feel more connected to who you are. So I enjoy that more because I don't get as much of like a thrill out of I'm gonna do this exact same thing 8,000 times until I finally do it right, So for me, I would say that Dark Souls 2 gives me more of a reason to keep playing it,
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it on PC. Obviously, I doubt the keyboard and mouse controls are going to be very good, but I'll just use the pad. It's not a big deal. 60 FPS will be nice. Apparently, the texture quality is a lot higher, even if they haven't put the lighting system in. So, yeah, it seems like they've not fucked the port up this time, which is nice. That's good to know. It's nice to see.
The port came faster this time too, right?
Yes. Yeah. It seems like they were more ready to do it this time around. They knew more about what they were doing. From Software's PC port history has been actually terrible, if you don't already know. They did Ninja Blade, which was 30 FPS for no fucking reason. And then they did Dark Souls, which was a fucking mess. So, seems like they've kind of got to that point. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's good. That's all I really wanted. I just wanted to be able to play Dark Souls in 60 FPS reliably.
It hogs.
Yep, you can't really do that with Dark Souls 1. You can mod it to do that, but you then fall through the floor and there's a bunch of physics bugs and shit, so it was never designed to be run that way. Yeah. We'll see. But back to FTL. Because frankly, all I've been fucking playing, all you've been fucking playing, that game's still a dick.
Yeah.
It really is. It's an absolute asshole.
Doesn't play fair.
No.
No. I wanna let you know that I met the creator at GDC and I told him the exact same thing. I said he's like, so how do you enjoy it? I was like, your game's a dick. It's not fair. And he was like, good.
Yeah.
Like, you fucking asshole.
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion, isn't it? Like, is it okay for games to be inherently unfair by design? Because, let's be honest, the random nature of FTL makes the game unfair by design. I'm currently on a god run. I've actually recorded this. It is so good.
Oh, you still haven't died?
Oh, no, not dead yet. I'm on a god run. Okay,
that's
see,
awesome.
I'm rolling around the Kestrel Cruiser, which everyone's like, oh, it's a piece of shit. Not when you get a Charge Ion and a Glaive Beam in Sector 1, it fucking isn't. Glaive Beam, for those who don't know, is effectively the most powerful, like, regular gun in the game. It's a beam that takes 4 power, it does 3 damage per room it hits, and it has a shield penetration, I think, of 2. So it will go through 2 layers of shields, which most beams don't do that. They just bounce off the shields and nothing happens. So you get a Charge Iron and this thing, and you basically just cut a ship in half, depending on its configuration. Some of them have rooms that are very close together, so if you're really careful, you can hit like 5 rooms at once. That's 15 fucking hull damage. That will basically kill anything in the game, if you're able to land that. And I quickly managed to, I got a few events to get the scrap to kind of put things together, and I was eventually able to operate my Charge Ion and my Glaive Beam probably by the end of Sector 2 simultaneously. Wow. and wrecked everything, and then just focused on defense. Then I got a drone system because, like, oh, what can kill me? Missiles. All right, defense drone. Sorted. Problem solved. Got some tough crew members. Like, oh, what else can kill me? Boarding. All right, get 3 fucking Mantis and let's go. And I'm just having this god tier run, but I've had, like, for every run like that, there are 5 runs where the game dicks you over. And even in this one, I'm 2/3 of the way to getting the Crystal Cruiser. I forgot, that's the first time I've ever had the Crystal event in 30 hours of play, where I don't want to spoil it for people, but there's an event which allows you to unlock the Crystal Cruiser. You've got to do like 3 stages, and I think the game is not going to give me the 3rd stage. I think it's flat out not going to give it to me. Even and there's nothing I can do about that. Not a thing. It's not that I made a mistake. It's that the game decided it wasn't going to give me what I needed to make that happen. And that's like the inherent unfairness of the title right there in a nutshell. That can actually happen. And strangely enough, I'm actually okay with that.
Well, I mean, that's one of like the 2 things that people right now really want for whatever reason. There's the random chance, right, that keeps the game fresh, that allows for new things to constantly happen. And then there's also customization to whatever extent you can give it. I feel like...
Basically, you just described casino gambling. Random chance, customization.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm going to customize how I gamble, go random chance. That's basically what you did.
To some degree, but it does have it has a degree of skill involved in it. I think there's definitely a skill cap for FTL where you can make every right decision.
Like craps, man. There's skill in craps. That's your game.
But it's skill like, the way that I would say it would probably be like some of the more complex versions of video poker. Like, that's the one I play when I go to Vegas. I play a lot of video poker. And if you play anything like Deuces Wild, don't play the other variants. They're shit and are there to fuck you over. But if you play Deuces Wild properly, you actually have the edge if you play it perfectly. And that's what it feels like, but you could still get absolutely fucked. So that's what it feels like. But every time you put a new ship and you go to a new universe, it's like you're pulling the reels down and you're spinning again. And there is a certain, like, I just want to do that again because I want to see what happens this time. It's like, I'll get lucky this time. I'll have the god run this time after 10 runs of just getting wrecked in Sector 2 or whatever. It's like, these guys have 3 missile launchers in Sector 2. You have, like, 15% evasion. Or everything explodes. Like, well, I couldn't do shit. Like, they hit your engine instantly so you can't get out. They hit your O2. They hit your fucking weapons so you can't fire back. And then they just lock you down. And that can happen. It can, and there's nothing you could have done up to that point could have saved you. And that's still okay, strangely enough.
I like it.
Yeah. I think so.
It's like life.
It's a little bit like McDonald's, actually.
No! No! Stopping this right now. Not happening. No.
You just want to eat it so you can see what happens. Are you going to have nightmares? Will you get a stomach ache? Will you poop for an hour and then be able to finally play your FTL game while pooping?
All those things will happen. That's the trouble with there is no random chance with the McDonald's. You know what you're getting into, and you're willing at that point. You're like, look, I have to have something.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree that the Osprey, which is the Federation Cruiser, is easy mode. I actually have struggled more with that fucking thing than I have with anything else. I do much better with the NG Cruisers, much better with the Kestrel by default. It can be a problem because if you only start with one gun, and you can run into some nasty stuff early on that can actually disable you because you can't, like, break their shields and do enough damage before they can start really hurting you. And it really comes down to attrition as well. Unless you can disable those weapons very early, you're going to be taking damage which you then have to repair, which costs you money. So I don't know if I don't agree with the Osprey being OP. I've tried a lot of Osprey runs, and I have got the Osprey to the final boss twice. But I didn't get cloaking at any point during my run. I was told before Advanced Edition you couldn't put cloaking on that thing at all. So you had to go really intense on defense drones, because otherwise you would die. And the last run I got to the boss, I didn't even see cloaking in the store. So I was ready. I had 50% evasion. I was well kitted out, and I got murdered in phase 2 of the end boss. And I just didn't see anything I could have done about it.
How do you feel about the new systems like hacking and mind control? Because I've been picking those up like whenever I have the opportunity.
I love mind control. I think hacking's not that great. Hacking is just kind of a waste of a drone part, in my opinion. And really, if you want to disable stuff, get fucking Ion. I think the only reason hacking is in there is to allow you to use drone parts if you don't have a drone system. So that's the reason they put it in there. But really, it's just a subpar drone system. Mind control is useful in every fucking scenario. There's not a scenario where you can't use mind control effectively. Either you mind control someone that's teleported onto your ship to kill the other guy that teleported onto your ship, or you mind control their fucking pilot. Mind control their mantis. If they have a mantis crew member, it will murder everything else in the ship, especially if you buff up mind control. It's so good, but I don't know. It's some people would say, oh, you can take down 4 shields with hacking. That is actually true. You can. I think whenever I've taken hacking, I haven't got really far enough in my run for it to matter. But hacking does go through shields, and you can drain all 4 layers of a shield with it. That is true.
Oh, that sounds effective then.
Yes, but earlier on in the game, hacking has limited use because you can usually break the shields with Ion anyway and just disable it that way. Mind control early on, much more useful. You can get more... You can set up a situation where you can kill off everyone on the ship, which means you get more scrap and more stuff, which you always want to be trying to do. And mind control does get fucked over in nebulas, that's true. But outside of that, just don't find fucking nebulas!
I really like how hacking... Well, yeah, it takes down shields or weapons, whatever you want to go for, but it also locks the rooms so nobody can get in without breaking the doors.
Yes, that's
so if
true.
you hack their shields and then mind control the crew member that they have in the shields, they just start blowing everything up, and everyone else on the ship is like, what the heck, man? What are you doing in there? Open the door.
That's pretty cool because a lot of them end up leaving their posts, which if the pilot leaves his post, that's instantly down to 0 evasion, which means you're going to be hitting them all the time. They stop trying to warp and things like that. Hack on the pilot will make 0 evade, but it doesn't stay on all the time. If hacking stayed on all the time, then that would be amazing, but it doesn't. So yeah, I think again, hacking definitely better late game, and as people in the chat pointed out, better if you have a teleporter so you can do boarding. Yeah. Because I've got really unlucky with getting a crew teleporter. The only time I got one is I'm flying the variant B of the NG cruiser that has 1 fucking crew member, and it's an NG. I want a crew teleporter right now. No, not at all. No, that sounds awful. But it's pretty great. I ran into the Lanius. They're a fucking nightmare, especially if they beam onto your ship, because they suck all the oxygen out of the room. Oh, God. So they're not very pleasant. But I've never actually had a Lanius crew member. I've never managed to do that.
Yeah, same.
That would be pretty cool. I'd love to have a boarding Lanius that was just trained in fighting and just beam into a room, drain all the oxygen out of it, and murder everybody. Absolutely awesome. I've been enjoying fire beams a lot. Not that they're they're not an advanced edition thing, but I've just been picking them up a lot whenever I've got the chance. And I got the Vulcan, which is a new gun. Holy fuck, that is a gun. So there's a new category of weapons called chain weapons.
Chain?
Yeah, charge is also another category, but chain weapons, every time you fire, it takes less time to fire again. Now, in the case of chain lasers, they're okay. They can get down to 7 seconds cooldown unbuffed. The Vulcan? That motherfucker, if you have the training on your weapons guy, will fire more than once a second. No shields will hold against that. It is impossible. Once you spin that thing up, my God, and combo that with a weapon pre-igniter so that you get that charge up over the first time, oh my God. It's insane. Yeah, I love the Vulcan is amazing. I very, very rarely see it at the shop, though. It's almost never there. You have to get it from a drop.
I guess I should pick up FTL again, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
You guys apparently recommend it.
Yeah,
I loved it when it first came out. I played it a bunch when it first came out, and I haven't paid any attention since Advanced Edition came out at all.
Yeah, if you unlocked 4 ships, you get the Lanius cruiser by default, which means you can play with that immediately, which is pretty great. I actually hadn't unlocked 4 separate ships. I'd unlocked a bunch of variants for my 3 existing ones. But I hadn't unlocked a 4th. I do actually now have a 4th, but I think it needs to not include the Kestrel Cruiser.
Yes.
So I'm pretty sure I need 1 more. If I get the Crystal Cruiser from this run, then I'm golden. But I did just get the Rock Cruiser. Not a fan of that one. It's it starts with double missiles, which is every time I shoot you, I'm spending money. This sucks. Yeah. Not starting with default weapons it's pretty difficult to play. Obviously, you can do a lot of damage because you start with a hull missile. If you fire against anything that has 6 hull or less on a room that has nothing in it, you insta-gib it. It's just dead because you hit it with the Artemis and the big missile. But Yeah, it is very, very good, and you know what? I am kind of loving the unfairness factor, and I love the new soundtrack. Like, there's some new music in there that's incredible. Some of it sounds really like Mass Effect. I think it's Lost Ship, I think is the name of it. It sounds exactly like a Mass Effect track. It's really, really good. Oh yeah, FTL's great.
Can I take us back to our conversation about
McDonald's?
the trailers? No. About the trailers for a minute. So
Yeah, sure.
you guys piqued my interest because I was curious because you brought up E3, and so I did a search for E3 2013 games that were announced, and I wanted to see what games were just cinematic trailers, which I guess doesn't really count with what we're talking about, which is like The Order 1866 or Quantum Break or Phantom Pain, stuff like that, which obviously are not going to show you what the actual game's like. But the games that did have trailers that turned out not to be at all like that, there are hundreds of games announced, but most of them are you got what you got, right? Most of them are either a Wii U game that you can't really hide stuff, or it's like a PC game that was pretty obvious what it's going to be graphically. But the 5 or 6 that I found that I was like, these are the ones that I guarantee that most people would recognize as like just full on having lied to you are Watch Dogs had things that were not true. Assassin's Creed 4 had things that were not true. Battlefield 4 had things that were not true. Call of Duty had things that were not true. Killzone had things that were not true. And Rise had things that were not true. And I was looking at that, I was like, these are all like Broforce games. These are all, by the way, Broforce, great game, but they're all like bro games. And I was like, what does that mean exactly? Why the lie there when mostly they're going to buy them just because like it's the next iteration, like Battlefield 4, the next Call of Duty, the next Killzone, the next Assassin's Creed. And Rise was sort of like this is our big platform launcher. So of course they're going to polish that up. And then Watch Dogs, because that's supposed to be the next big thing. You can see why they're trying to sell them like, oh shit, this is going to be it's going to change everything. But out of the hundreds of games that are there, you never see an RPG like polish itself up like that. You never it's things like you don't see that. Like there is no Rome Total War is going to be like, yeah, no, look at our graphics, they're crazy.
Actually, they went, look at our AI, it's insane, and then it ended up being literally insane. That's the problem.
I mean, I would say that the reason for those games specifically to need to look incredible is pretty obvious. Like they need that game to have incredible explosions, incredible things you can do. It needs to look amazing because it's competing with other games that are doing those exact same things.
Yeah, you're talking about the top tier of like AAA popular kind of multi-million selling franchises there for the most part.
Right. But the thing is okay, then actually like let's make the game that. Like it's all like, oh yeah, no, it's shit, but we're gonna polish that shit up and make it look real pretty for you. Like,
yeah, but they can't though. I mean, there's a reason why Rise was running at like 900p. Was it 30 FPS? I can't recall. Rise was 30 FPS.
It was a good 30.
Yeah,
it was a good 30.
Yeah, launch title, fucking launch title, next gen system, less than 1080p, 30 FPS. Those are the compromises they had to make make it look even close to the trailers. They make promises they can't keep. It's as simple as that. And they especially with the launch of the new consoles, everyone has a vested interest in making them look incredible, right? Everybody. Microsoft had a vested interest in Rise looking as great as possible because they've got to sell consoles. They've got to convince people that their 360 on their PS3, they're not enough for them anymore. They need the new ones. They need the new stuff. And that's the only way you can do it. So to be fair, I do genuinely feel that both Sony and Microsoft are very much in cahoots when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Well, I was going to say, I think the association between all those games, like that bro game thing, is that out of all gamers, they are the least invested in what's happening behind the scenes gamers. Like they are the ones who will buy the product, love the product, but unlike us who are sitting around talking about it, that won't happen because they have X to do and they're, gym tan laundry bros, right? And so they'll be doing that instead of talking about games, which is fine. That's their life, but they're they'll see the trailer, say, good, awesome, I want it, and buy it. At that point, they've already bought the game. Like that's that kind of marketing. Like, well, they're not gonna look it up in like Electronic Gaming Magazine. It's true. It's absolutely true. And so I guess that's how we can sit here and be like, ugh, look at them just scamming everyone. But most of society's like, oh, that looks cool. Okay. There you go, and that's how it works.
Well, if people would stop fucking pre-ordering video games, this wouldn't be a problem. Because if they do their research, then they will know exactly what's going on with this stuff. But
you get a new outfit in Watch Dogs.
here's an example.
It has a hoodie.
All right.
It has a
Yeah, let's
hoodie.
talk about Watch Dogs for a second. An entire fucking fan site went after me on Twitter for daring to say that I was really disappointed that the top game on Steam right now was Watch Dogs. Yeah, a game which isn't even out yet. And that fact that was top selling was like, you know, I was disappointed in that because, like, how many fucking times will this happen? I mean, to be fair, I'm disappointed in this right now. If not for A Wolf Among Us popping up there as a result of their 40% discount, this is what the top sellers list on Steam would look like right now. An unfinished walking simulator zombie game, a game that's not out yet, a game about a fucking goat that's buggy as shit, and another unfinished zombie game. Like, because that was the top four. That was the top four yesterday. So it's good that Dark Souls 2 is kind of pushing up there again, because I think that people will watch the quick look, so they're like, all right, it's safe to pre-order because it doesn't look like shit again. You know, I can at least at that point say, oh, okay, well, I guess it's okay that you did that because you just saw some unedited gameplay from a person you trust. All right, put your pre-order down. You're still kind of silly because you're getting 10 weapons, in-game weapons, which are all shit, by the way, and a soundtrack, a digital art book, and a digital comic book, and you're getting no discount on it at all, and this is okay for you. Which is, I just like, why do you just buy it when it comes out, when you know for certain that it's what you need? But I think that the fact that there's, like, entire fan sites willing to fucking go after you on Twitter just because you said, like, pre-ordering this game's kind of silly demonstrates just how deep people buy into this shit and just how strong pre-order culture is. It's to the point.
That costume, it is great. I'm just saying.
It is to the point where people will defend games that are not out yet, and they will not be paid to do it. At least I assume this sort of form was probably astroturfing, so, you know, it most likely
Fandoms
a bunch of
have always
PR
been
guys.
this way, though.
Yeah.
Like, fandoms care so much. They latch onto something, they decide that it's great and amazing, and they will stand on a soapbox to the death. You know?
Yeah,
that's always existed.
And I can at least
less
understand that if the game's out. But it's not. You've never played it. The only thing you know is what they've shown you. And if anything is clear in the past, it's that they cannot be trusted at all to provide what they showed you. You know, they are willing to be dishonest with you to get your pre-order. That alone should be a reason not to trust them anymore. But apparently it isn't.
Do it this time, TB. This will be the time.
Because what if this time it's the one?
Right? Yeah.
What if this is gonna be my game of the year, TB? I need it. You know.
It's like going on a first date, TB. This could be the one, man. The last 12 were horrible, but this
this
could be the
one.
one.
Quite like a
This
first
one-
date, yeah, absolutely. You go out, it sucks, you end up paying for dinner. Well done. Pretty
you
much
pay for-
pre-ordering video games. Blind dates.
You guys are missing the economic reasoning, though. You know, like if inflation's like 3% a year, if you pre-order something a week before it comes out, you save like a fraction of a
There you
cent.
go.
Ah.
If you just do that like a million times, then
My financial
you can retire.
advisor advised me that it was a good idea to do this, you know?
You say pre-ordering games, it's free money, sort of.
It makes sense.
Oh,
It's fiscal responsibility, guys.
Yeah.
If anything.
That would be the kind of line that I would have expected to come out of that fan forum, honestly. Unironically.
The trailer is like being shown a picture of the girl or a guy, but it's photoshopped.
Wow.
Oh, the
'Cause you met on
latest
Tinder
Watch
like a
Dogs
big
trailer?
old,
Yeah.
or Grinder. I'm not judging. Tinder or Grinder.
Yeah, one of
and you
those.
met there.
Whatever.
Yeah, and you met, but it's a Photoshop. It was a selfie down shot, Facebook
Yeah.
style.
It was one of those, and then they put it in. They made their boobs look bigger, and
What a lie. What a lie.
what a lie! And you still have to pay for dinner.
Yep, you
Yep.
still have to pay for
Pre-ordering
dinner.
games.
Yep, that's it.
Quit it. Stop it. Fucking
All makes
stop
sense,
it.
full
Stop
circle.
it completely. Like, the consumers could fix so much if they weren't so fucking stupid. You
guys could do a whole lot if you weren't so fucking dumb.
quit being idiots. And these companies won't do this anymore. Stop it. Stop it.
I think we can all feel good that the Amazing Spider-Man is in the number 6 spot.
I saw that
top
was
sellers.
like close. Don't even. Don't.
I think it's $17 for that. That's definitely not worth that. That is the game where you are able to web swing from fucking thin air. Like, it doesn't even try.
Awesome.
It's not, it would have been okay if there wasn't already a very good web swinging system in previous Spider-Man games, like Spider-Man fucking 2. But no! That's too complicated. We're going to make you swing for the fucking clouds.
Just because you can't see the hundreds of cranes in the city of New York above you doesn't mean
that are all being
there.
angled in as workmen,
Perfectly
hard,
angled.
honest working New Yorkers. Salute the Spider-Man as he swings
Go get
by.
him, Spidey. And there's American flags
That was
on every
the
single one of the
worst
cranes.
thing I've
stop.
seen in film in a long time.
Horrible scene.
Spoiler
I almost turned the
alert
movie
for
off at that
first, That first Spider-Man.
Oh god, I do not want to see the second one after that.
I do.
Of all the Marvel stuff that's coming out right now, that is the one that excites me the least.
Did you?
man.
I don't even.
Right. So yes, FTL, we've done that. And I think that's kind of all we've been playing. I'm trying to think of anything else that I've been playing.
I have a mobile suggestion.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
You guys should totally play Kuroko no Dash. It's an endless runner. It is a fan game of Kuroko no Basket. And
I don't know what
you
any
get to
of these
unlock all of
things are.
all of the other characters, all of the generations of miracles. You unlock all of them. And you can slowly collect them as you're running.
How the fuck do you spell this?
Kuroko. Kuroko. Yeah. No
Kuroko
Dash.
no Basket.
Kuroko no Dash is the name of the game.
Kuroko no,
if we're
Kuroko
doing-
no Basket. Okay.
If we're doing mobile games right now,
Uh-huh.
I would like to recommend a game called Super Kid Cannon. It is delightful. It is in Donkey Kong Country when you get in the barrels
This
and
is
it
about
launches you.
basketball. What the fuck?
Huh?
This is about basketball.
Yeah, it's a basketball anime.
Why?
But in this endless runner, you're training, and you have to collect basketballs, and then at the end, it adds up how
So
far you
stupid.
got,
So
and the
stupid.
basketballs that you collected,
But
and you
why?
can tell that it's made by a fan because
Dumb.
all of the things
Dumb.
that you run into are things that are part of like the fandom, like
But-
all of
but-
Midoriya's
But why?
special items and stuff.
Anyway,
There are animes with big swords and demons and mecha robots and
Oh my
aliens.
God.
And you
Anime.
picked one with
it's like
basketballs.
swim team
TV
anime.
Kuroko no Basket is so good. No, it is nothing like Free. Free is purposefully homosexual. Not that there's a problem with that. It's great. But Kuroko no Basket is just like amazing characters and everybody's like got crazy hair and it's awesome.
You take your
Kuroko no
crocky
you should watch
basket
it.
and put it
And then you
elsewhere.
should play Kuroko no Dash.
Then you
Look,
should
I'm
play.
gonna be the only Animu voice on this entire podcast for the rest of my life. So I'm gonna be firm in my convictions.
Then you should play
anime.
Super Kid Cannon, because Super Kid Cannon is Donkey Kong Country, the parts of Donkey Kong Country where you blast off in the cannons, and like that's the entire game. Mwah. That's my favorite part of Donkey Kong Country. I found this and was like, holy crap! Wait, so you just like it's all angles and cannon fire, and you just bounce around like a. Guys, I've never been so excited. It is so simplistic and beautiful, and I love it. I love everything about it. Super Kid Cannon. Look it up. I don't know. I don't know where you can get it. I assume it's on iTunes. I have no clue. I don't.
Well, if you got it on your iDevice, then it has to be. You know?
I found it on the internet, and then I was like, I want
okay.
this, and so now I have it. So that's how that works.
Well, yeah, I have
Find it.
actually been playing a mobile game with Jen, which I think is called Quiz Me, and it is just a fucking quiz game. That's all it is, but it has a bazillion like different categories. It's like $1 on iOS, and it pairs you up against somebody else, and you do a quick 7-round quiz. Like, it takes about a minute to do. And I am a fucking demon at the video games category. No one, and I mean no one could defeat me in that category. I am just a monster. Like, I'm destroying children at this. Like, because it shows you their like, kind of iOS picture, and it's like this 8-year-old kid from France or whatever called Frederic, and I am going to ruin your existence. And I just destroy this guy over and over and over again. And now I've almost run out of questions. That's the problem, because it's starting to loop around a bit now. I'm like, this is unfortunate, but it's like a slick little quiz app. You can plug your Facebook account in and challenge your friends if you want. There's a rematch function. There's a lot of categories. There's like a web culture category, which gets really close to mentioning people. In fact, I'm pretty sure at one point there is a question about the Yogscast in there. There's some pretty obscure stuff as well. I mean, there's a League of Legends category. There's all sorts of things like that. It's all right. It's a pretty good app.
I don't. Hopefully one of you guys might know the name, or the internet might know the name.
It's called QuizUp, apparently, not QuizMe. QuizMe is an entirely different thing.
This is right up many of your alleys. There's a game that I played this past week, and I can't remember the name of it. It's going to kill me. But it's like Threes, but it's Magic the Gathering. So it's you're putting numbers together to put down the mana you need in order to put down the cards. It is fantastic.
That sounds incredible. Considering like Threes has been ripped off to a pretty serious degree up to this point. Like 2048 is. I actually played 2048 because I was really curious about it, and it's a piece of shit. And the reason, and what annoys me more than anything is it's on the iOS store. It has like 7,500 votes, probably more than Threes does on the App Store. And I am correct. Threes has less votes up, even though it is the original game and far fucking better. And people play 2048. At 2048, you could get amazing scores by just hammering up and left over and over and over again. That's all you fucking do, because it is it's a terribly designed version of that game, and it's been cloned to shit. And it pisses me off when we see stuff like that, because Threes is a game that's obviously crafted with tender loving care. They have a huge blog on how like they made the tiniest little changes to the mechanics to balance it out and to make it more challenging. The art style, the music, the amount of character that they put in there. And 2048, you go on that, it's fucking brown blocks. It is brown blocks, easy brown blocks. And that's all it is. And people have the audacity to clone the open source. At least it is. But the fact that ended up being on the App Store and is more popular than the original, I lose all faith in mobile apps at that point. There's so much cloning bullshit going on.
Most people just don't care, unfortunately.
No, they don't.
Just, like,
they don't give a shit.
Whatever they see first, that becomes like their anchor. And then it's like there are people that will like violently defend 2048. And I played it and I think it's fine. Although I think Threes is a much better game.
It's far better.
I think maybe it's not objective, but anyway, that's the way I feel about it. But yeah, but they'll say, oh, well, I don't really care because 2048 it's free, right? So that's what makes the difference.
Yeah, and most people on iOS devices will not fucking pay for games. Like, it's ludicrous, frankly, but they will not pay for games. And it blows my mind because it's so cheap. Threes is like $2 at most, possibly $1. And really, you don't even have to think about a purchase like that. I get it if it's kids. Yeah, I understand if it's kids that don't have access to the ability to buy games on iOS because they don't have a credit card on their iDevice, thankfully. But for adults, if you are actually going out of your way to get 2048 instead of dropping the measly $2 it takes to get a far superior game, you're an idiot. And you are just actively perpetuating this culture of terrible games on iOS and the cloning culture. Because what's the point in coming up with something original when you could steal from somebody else and make a bunch of money with zero effort?
Yeah.
Does anyone in chat know what this game is?
Sorry,
I know. I keep looking.
I have no.
Sorry, I'm just going to play. Welcome back, folks. Apologies. I tried to set my little thing up so that I could do a screen capture of 2048 and just demonstrate just how broken it is mechanically. And I can't, it crashed the whole thing. I can do it, don't get me wrong, I could go live with it right now and it probably won't break it. There we go. So I was talking about pressing up and pressing left. You can get a pretty good score by just doing that, yeah? So, yeah, here you go. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. All right, not too good, let's try again. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Down, there we go, da-da-da-da. You can literally mash buttons and get a pretty good score, which is just... I mean, this is just ridiculous. Like, I am not even trying at this point.
Your APM is through the roof, though.
Hey, I play StarCraft. I'm a fucking machine. It's, this is just ridiculous. I'm still going. If I tried anything like this in Threes, I'd get wrecked. But no, I was like, hey, there we go. Hey, this is the. I'm not fucking trying. I already have a 256 there immediately. Just like I said, and they avoided doing that in Threes because they did it sensibly, you know? And that because they understood what the game design was. And the guy that made this, I get that this guy just released it for free on GitHub. That's cool. I have the problem with the people cloning it and actually charging money for it or putting fucking ads in it or anything like that, which seems to be the way of doing things. Clone the game, put ads in it, and make money. You know, but basically the Flappy Bird is all you need to do there. And it's a joke.
Two minutes ago on Twitter, we just got sent an image from, I want to give this NOLA 7. That is the iOS cloning, you say. This is taken from the front page. This is all the 2048s. And there's like 4 rows of 2048 clones.
Yep. Yeah, it's absurd. It's as bad as what Flappy Bird was when that was going on. All right, I think we seem to be back on air, but no, we're not for some reason, which is really weird.
I think it might be a Twitch thing. A bunch of people said, like, you said you were live for a second and then you were gone.
And then it just went kaput. Yeah, we'll see if we can bring that back up. Apologies if you're watching the... Yeah. It's like... Yeah. As someone pointed out in the chat, actually, which is pretty accurate, 2048 is a clone of 1024, which was a clone of 3s. So it's a clone of a clone. And
I've heard that defense a lot too. Whenever somebody like attacks 2048 to someone who enjoys 2048, they're like, "Well, it's not a clone of 3s; it's a clone of 1024." And like, there's a laundering of like morals in that one like step away, I guess.
Yeah, it's like, no, I don't give a shit. Like you didn't do your due diligence at that point. Like he said, "Oh, I've never heard of 3s." Yeah, but you cloned 1024, so you actively went and cloned another game. But again, I don't hate that guy too much because it's open source, it's for free. And he at least had, he put down at the bottom that it was like heavily inspired by 3s or whatever. But the problem I have is the people on iOS that are either selling it or they're putting ads on it. And it's so toxic to real game development. It's right back to the 70s and 80s when all people were doing was cloning games. And guess what fucking happened? Video game crash. It's as simple as that. Oh, I just don't want to see that happen again. And mobile is, every time something really cool and original comes along, like 3s, which is a high-quality mobile game. It's a game that I personally would play as a person that plays PC games that works well on mobile. Along comes the fucking Attack of the Clones immediately. Ridiculous Fishing, same fucking story. Luftrausers, same story. Vlambeer gets hit for this all the time. Super Crate Box, same fucking story. Muffin Night was super successful and was a blatant ripoff of that. And I think what Jesse was talking about is really cool. Taking that idea and turning it to something new. Like, I want to know what this game is because I would play the shit out of it. I
just tweeted out to, hopefully someone will get back to me by the end of the day. I do not remember. I played it for maybe an hour and I can't remember the name of it because it was like, we just put this up in the store, so buy it.
I want to know what it is, yeah. So if anyone knows what the kind of combination of Magic the Gathering and 3s is.
So yeah, what it was is you had to get the numbers in order to have enough mana in your pool to put down cards.
Yeah, it sounds like a very puzzle quest, effectively.
Yeah,
that sounds brilliant. I love it when people do that, when they take a concept and they turn it into something brand new. And I love that kind of iteration. I think that's what really kind of drives the games industry forward. Yep. It's like when you see a successful mechanic, you integrate it into something new. I mean, think about something like Borderlands, for instance. Oh, we love loot. Okay, what if we integrated loot into a kind of free-roaming, open-world FPS? Then you get Borderlands. And you don't say, "Oh, well, you ripped off Diablo." You say, "No, something new was created here," and that's wonderful.
That's why like Puzzle Quest and things like that,
Puzzle Quest is taking Match 3 and turning it into something new, and then there's a bunch of games that don't. That just play... Yeah, there was that poker-based Puzzle Quest game, whose name escapes me. What was that? There's an achievement in there that is based on me missing a really good hand. I can't remember what it was called, though. It's gone out of my head. But, yeah, there was a poker-based one. It was pretty good. But you've got to be creative. You have to actually have some creativity in your soul to be able to make something that really builds upon previous success of stuff instead of just ripping it off completely. And most of these devs don't have that. It's as simple as that. That's why all the Flappy Bird clones are the way that they are. At least I guess with the Flappy Bird clones, you have the excuse that the original game disappeared, right? Like that it disappeared from the internet. It's like, okay, well, someone's going to fill that void. But there was already 3s. 3s was already real. That was already a thing. Now, please support 3s and don't support shitty games that are blatant rip-offs of other people's ideas. It's that simple. Yeah.
Oh, hey, guys. I thought we were going to a break, but I guess not.
No, we didn't. No, we decided to get right back on air because, I prefer to get my viewers back. And plus, I was in mid-rant and I wanted to show people 2048 with spamming buttons, which I was able to do successfully. So that was lovely. But now we'll take a break. Sounds like a good idea. And then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about what we've been playing this week. And then we'll talk about the news and get into some other stuff. You're watching the Corruptional Podcast. Do not go anywhere. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-Optional Podcast. All the music in the breaks today has been provided by Ben Prunty, who is the composer for FTL. And that was all from the Advanced Edition soundtrack, which you can get for pay what you want over on his site, or you can actually download tracks for free. And I think if you have the FTL soundtrack edition, you get that for free as well on Steam, so that's pretty cool. The new music in there is just so good. It's better than anything else he's written.
I can't believe that it's free.
Yeah.
Like, that's what gets me. The PC version is just free.
Yeah, it's just that the Advanced Edition, it's like, hey, here's some free content. Like, wow, you could have charged for this. And I wouldn't have begrudged you in any way if you had. Yeah, it's great. Lanius Battle, I think, is probably my favorite track in the entire game now. It is that good. Lost Ship's pretty good, too. All right, so let's get back onto what we have been playing. Is there anything else that we have as of yet not covered? Jesse, what have you been playing? We haven't really talked to you much today.
Lord. I finally beat all of the Bioshock DLC, which is, okay, it's Bioshock DLC.
That's what I heard. I heard that it was just kind of like, eh.
The thing that I was disappointed in is everyone on the internet, which just makes me once again lose all faith in the internet. Everyone was all hyped about how the ending was so crazy. And I was like, no, this is literally the only way this could have ended. Like, I'm not gonna even spoil it, but should you want to get spoiled, go watch my video. Boop. And like, it's one of those things that's like, there is no other way that Ken Levine could have ended this. None. And there's nothing shocking about this. The ending, if you've played any of the Bioshocks, you saw this coming a mile away. And it was just like, how are people shocked? Like, really, it disappointed me in the internet more than anything else. So I was like, no. It felt like the opposite of when Lost ended, or to more extent, like a newer extent, How I Met Your Mother. Like, everyone flipped to shit at the end of that show because it was not the ending they wanted. This was an ending that was a set. I was like, okay, I can now move on with my life. The story has been told. We're good. We probably won't get another decent Bioshock game. Thank you. I'll move on with my life. And that's like, if it would have been a shocker, like, oh, and in the end, Elizabeth was a penguin, I would have been on here flipping shits. But I'm happy I'm not. I'm happy I'm not mad at all. I'm like, you know what? I'd rather feel okay and indifferent than like shocked and horrified. Because, you know, I don't want any of that shit where it's like, it's about the characters. It was never about the island. Fuck you, Damon Lindelof. It was always about the island, you asshole. Like that kind, like it's that kind of stuff. And I'm okay with it. I'm perfectly fine with it. And it just miffed me that the internet was like, it's crazy. Well,
here's the thing, right? You are very, very good at spotting endings and figuring shit out when it comes to story. Like, there are not that many people that can figure that stuff out as quickly as you can way before the ending. I've noticed that about you. Like, the Bioshock in particular, like, people spent weeks fucking drawing up charts and shit, and you nailed every point in about 10 minutes, and you knew it all about 2 hours before the game ended, which is what was kind of blowing my mind about that. I don't know, maybe I think, like, you just have... You're kind of on a higher level when it comes to that. Like, you nerd out about the story so much that a lot of people just get kind of whisked up in the experience, and as a result, they don't notice it until it hits them right in the face.
The thing that I probably realized is most people probably haven't played Bioshock 1, so the world of Rapture, they don't know it. And
you
so,
think so?
I would think that there's probably a lapse between the two. I don't want to say generations, but because it's been a reasonable amount of time, that most people probably haven't played the first. And so I imagine that people missed out on...
You should play the first. The first is great.
Fantastic.
The second's better.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to keep saying it.
TB
I've told you why.
I told you why.
It's mechanically superior to the other two games, and Minerva's Den is incredible. That's why.
I'll give you that. Minerva's Den DLC is great. Or I guess expansion. I'm not sure what you would call it then. DLC. Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things where if you play the other ones, it's very blatantly obvious what's happening. And the only thing is trying to figure out what the twist is going to be. And it was less twist, more, okay, full circle. I was like, good.
So Jesse, I've got a verification of your opinion that people didn't play it, by the way. So, according to VG charts, Bioshock 1 sold 2.72 million copies, Bioshock 2, 2.11 million, and Infinite sold over 4 million. But I actually, No, that might very well be wrong. Sorry, they're doing it on a platform by platform basis. My apologies.
Oh, okay.
That's stupid. Why don't they just list all of it? I don't know. It might still be right. I think Infinite may still have outsold the original Bioshock. That is a possibility. But
I think there was more hype around Infinite for sure.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Here's what I hope, though. People will then go back and play Bioshock 1 and then be like, I'll play Bioshock 2 now. Because I think they deserve another look if you've never played them. Because they're fantastic games. They're really, really good. And it sort of deserves your attention. Because if you
I think they're better than Infinite. You know,
if
it's like they all have bad gunplay. You might as well play the one that's a better game and has bad gunplay.
Yeah.
I mean, the feel of the two games, if we're counting out number 2, if it's just Rapture Bioshock and Infinite Bioshock, they are so different in terms of tone, in terms of location. They're completely different. In
terms of pacing,
it's just
like what it requires of you when it comes to dealing with the levels.
I will say the genius of this last DLC isn't in its story; it's in the way it played. Because you're playing, and shouldn't be a spoiler to anyone because they announced it. Because you're playing as Elizabeth. You aren't a running gunner. You are sneaking through. You can fight, but in order to live, you need to sneak through stuff, crawl through vents, and there's an entire area of the map that's a good 2 hours of the DLC that is hiding from a Big Daddy as he walks around. And if you're near him, he will kill you. And I love that about it because it becomes less I'm Booker and I run around as a total badass and more, oh shit, this world is awful and I need to live. And it's like borderline horror, and it's great. It actually worked really, really well, and it took it to another level for me. I was like, they did something right with this one. I would be very okay with more games similar to this in, like, say, the Bioshock universe, which they can still do. No spoilers, but they can still do it.
Do you think Burial at Sea was better than... was actually better than Infinite? Taken as a whole, including the first part.
Honestly, I liked... I'm gonna say yes. I think Burial at Sea was better than Infinite story-wise. It added more to the story, and it wasn't trying to shock you. Like, I think the Infinite storyline was there to constantly throw little curveballs at you, which is fine. It made for a very entertaining game, but I think Burial at Sea was more of a full story, even though it was total 7 hours, maybe. It was more of a full story where it took the characters.
Infinite was like 10 most, right?
And so I don't know. I actually liked Burial at Sea a lot, but it's also because I think the characters matured. Elizabeth, who I will say, even though Booker's the main character, I think Elizabeth's the main character of the game, of the Bioshock Infinite universe.
Yeah,
and
totally.
I feel like she as a character matured, and then it not only showed her mature, but then it explained why she matured. And I think that's the biggest shock of the entire thing, which I won't spoil, is the course that she was set on in her maturation, which I think it's one of those things where it's like, oh shit. And so I think that's the big twist. It's like why she grew up and how she grew up. So I think that's the biggest thing to take out of it.
Fair enough.
It was fun. Other than that, I mean, Diablo, but we talk about that too much. Diablo, play that, and
yeah.
I honestly can't think of... I mean, I went back and tried to give Thief another second chance, because after I played Burial at Sea, I was so on my, like, it's just like Dishonored, I'm digging it. I went back to try and play Thief again. And Thief has moments of greatness intermingled with just complete boredom. I was like, why is there so many good moments in this game, and the rest of it's just like, you must loot everything. And I said this before, when the game tells you to loot, it's not as fun as when you want to loot
because it becomes your job, right?
Yeah, and it's just... It angered me, and so I stopped playing that again. And so really, that's been my week.
Do you think the open world actually hurts it? Would have you preferred it to be more like the original games, where it was just, here's a mission, do it. Here's another mission, do it. You'd prefer that.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I don't like the... I mean, the open world's great for some parts, because there's like, you can be very sneaky and do different things, but it's just a general pain in the ass. Like there's parts of it where it's just boredom, because you're if you don't want to get caught, you're just waiting and not doing anything. And so it's like, I'll wait here. And because they made fighting, as I said before, so difficult, where you have to press R and V, which is the most worst keyboard positioning for fighting stuff.
There's
they don't
nothing
want you to
stopping
fight.
you rebinding that. You know that.
Right, but they don't want you, like, it's obvious they don't, fighting is not the mechanic of this game.
No.
It's about sneaking and hiding and knocking guys out and running, which is fine, except it's just every one of their brothers is very good at catching you, which I think I complained about it in Dishonored, like, these are the worst, these are the dumbest guards. I like them dumb. I love them dumb now that I have a game where it's like, we know exactly where you're at. F that business. That's too much for me.
Power
I like
fantasy.
dumb guards.
Say it time and again, when it comes to Dishonored, it's a fucking power fantasy. Less of a stealth
really good.
game.
Feels really. I love Dishonored, and I can't wait for the sequel. Coming soon.
Totally. I still need to get around to playing the Dishonored DLC, honestly. It's
the DLC is fantastic. The Witches of Brigmore, or Brigmore Witches, or whatever it's called. Fantastic. It's actually really good. That's one of the few DLCs that I was blown away by. Like, damn, they actually tried to make it bigger than it's just in this little tiny town. So good on them.
Yeah, I need to play that. Absolutely. Anything else we've all been playing this week?
Broforce came out on Steam Early Access.
Broforce. What do you
That's what I was
reckon,
going to say.
Tim?
Broforce.
Yeah, you and
Broforce
Jesse
is a
played it.
hilariously fun game. I love it so much. It's basically speaking of power fantasy, that's what it is. You play as bro-ified versions of celebrities and movie stars.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
It's a platformer where you just murder. And so you can literally be anyone from, and they all have their special weapons. So you can be, I don't know, what's the Blade bro's name?
Oh yeah, I don't remember, but
It's Blade from the movie Blade, except, and all he has is his sword, and he just runs around like, and he can slice up the map. There's oh my God, there's Will Smith, like it is everything is, your Stallones and your Bruce Willis's and all those different guys. But then they even have like Will Smith from Men in Black, and he has this little tiny pea shooter gun that destroys like half the map. It's incredible. But if you play with friends, you can kill each other, mostly on accident, and it is hilarious. And then at the end of the level, the best part is the end of the level when there's only one rope on the helicopter, and whoever jumps on that rope, everyone else dies. The level explodes and everyone dies, and the guy just gets away.
That's a Castle Crashers kind of style of dickery there. I love that.
yeah.
It's so much fun. It is a blast. I would say play it with as many friends as you can, because it's
insane. Yeah, it's totally crazy. And sometimes, like, I agree, play with as many people as possible because it's all about hyping up like the absurdity of it. But whenever like two people die and it's just me left, I'm like, oh, this is kind of nice. Like I can just like walk through the level Contra style and like shoot people. But yeah, no, it's really good. And like it's one of those rare games that's like, not to bring up a recent top seller on Steam, but it's funny, but it also plays well. And I think that's really cool.
And we will get onto that in the news. I'm having a second crack at this. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to the reactions. Yeah, it actually looks good. I'm watching you play it on the NLSS, which is the NorthernLion Scum Show, if I recall correctly.
Close enough. Yeah.
Which is a show that you do like 3 times a week or so. Yeah, that looks right up my alley.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. I'll definitely give that a play.
I'm trying to find a name of the characters because they're incredible. They have the best names.
Yeah, there's like the Brominator and
Bro Dread, Braid is the Blade one.
Braid? Really?
BA Bro Raucus. There's Bro in Black. There's Brobocop. That's my favorite.
Yeah,
Brobocop.
Nice.
Brodell Walker. So you get Walker Texas Ranger. He's in it. The Brominator, Bromando. Indiana Brones. McBrover is in there. You have Nebro, so you can play as Neo. Rambro and Snake Broskin. There's this. Oh, and Ash Williams.
Yes.
So basically, all the big time 80s and 90s action stars are in there. And
I love that they're just not even trying with the names at that point. It's just like, stick Bro in there somewhere, see what happens. Yeah, it is on early access, so I won't cover it until it comes out, but I'll certainly play it, as it looks like fun.
Even the Greenlight version of the game was fantastic. Like,
how
it's
early
been
access
good
would you
forever.
say it is? Exactly.
No, it existed in a full game form on Greenlight, so I mean, maybe they're just polishing it. I don't know.
It plays fine online right now.
weird.
There's only like there's only 10 levels in the online campaign right now, so you can beat it in like 12 minutes or 15 minutes or something like that. But it's worth playing over and over again because you get different characters every time, and it changes the way that you play.
And when you die, the character you get again is different. Like you don't choose your character. You always are playing someone different, and so and you can even switch. Like you can save a person and switch the character with them, and it's very fun. So if you like Braid, for example, he's the best. There exists a video where I make it through a level in like 3 seconds as Braid, where I'm just like, pew, 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 and guys are exploding around me, and somehow I live, and it's beautiful. It's like, how did that happen? Doesn't matter. It did. It's great. It's a very funny game. And yeah, NorthernLion's right. It's a game that's funny without trying very, very hard. Like, I would say they tried the least hard to be funny, and it's hilarious.
All right. Yeah, that definitely sounds pretty good. I played a little bit more.
It looks beautiful too.
Yeah, I like the style of it. I think it's what it needs to be. If you're gonna have a lot of destruction, that's a good way. That's a good look, I think. Especially if like blocks are coming away and the level's destructible. It reminds me of Worms. Like not the newer Worms, the original fucking Worms. You know, with the classic graphic style before they went a little bit too cartoony with it. No, it's alright.
It's very fun. So I would recommend it.
You know, I played some Arkham Origins Blackgate Deluxe.
How's that?
Fucking terrible. Oh man,
Do tell.
So imagine this, right? You know I'm pretty bad at navigating in video games, right? I get lost quite easily. So imagine this. You're playing a game that is 2.5D, and by that they mean they're going to change the camera angle randomly, but you're still stuck on a 2D plane. Then imagine, and I'm about to show this on the screen, that your map looks like this. And you'll take you about 20 seconds to see it. And then you'll realize what in the actual fuck. This is the map of one area. It is really hard to navigate. I got lost so many times. Most of the areas look the same.
Oh my god.
There's a lot of identical vents. Every one of those lines is a vent, which turns multiple corners, by the way, and every vent looks the same. There are vents on multiple levels, so you have to be at a certain height to access them. It's a kind of Metroidvania in the way that it works, in that there are like certain doors you can't open until you have a certain kind of sequencer and stuff like that. It is a nightmare. And I think the game, I could have maybe got away with it if the map actually orientated itself depending on where you were. But it doesn't. So if you move left on the map, you might be moving up. Like, and it constantly switches. You have no control of the camera. So it switches when it feels like it. So it is, I get so turned around and disorientated in that game. That's the biggest problem I've got with it. But aside from that, it's just a bad Arkham game. It uses the same free-flow combat system, but it's in 2D, meaning you can only hit 2 people at once. So you're like, all you're doing is pressing backwards and forwards, because everyone else is kind of milling around the foreground and background. So when you knock one over, another takes his place, you punch him. It's just a waste of time. That you could barely use any gadgets in combat, so there's very little combat variety. It's slower, it's clunkier, it's less responsive. It doesn't look very good. I mean, it was a Vita game originally, so, and a 3DS game as well, so you wouldn't expect too much, but it ended up on PC for $20 as the deluxe edition. They barely uppresed it. There's no options. Like, it's just, no. Absolutely not.
So why even bother?
Yeah, it's a waste of your time. It's more of a waste of your time than Liberation was, and Liberation was a pretty big waste of your time. So yeah, that was one of those games which frustrated me. Like, I almost didn't make the video because I'm like, I can't push far enough into this game because it is driving me insane. And I want to make sure I at least get far enough in to like unlock a couple of devices and figure my way through the level. So I kind of pushed forward, and then ended up in a bit where there's no enemies. Like, you go like 30 minutes and there's no fucking enemies. Because once you kill the enemies, and there's not that many enemies in the game, once you knock the enemies out, they're gone for good. And that game has a shitload of backtracking in it. So you're backtracking through areas that would have had enemies in it, and you would have had to be stealthy, but no, they're not there anymore. So you run around in this empty fucking room for half an hour. It's, oh no.
That sounds really fun. We should
Under
all
no
play
circumstances. Go back and play Arkham
Recommended by
Asylum.
TB.
You probably didn't do all the DLC. Go play City. You probably didn't do all the DLC for that. Play Origins. All of those are much, much better games than this. No.
I even get lost in those.
Yeah,
I'm also bad at navigating in games. Like, every time I play one of those Batman games, I'm like, where am I?
Where am I
It's the
going?
worst.
Yeah, it's like, oh, here's the marker, but you realize it's indoors or 5 levels down from where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, Arkham
And the
Asylum
building's
did
like
that into me.
surrounded by dudes that have just been following you, and I'm just like, I hate this game.
Yeah,
It's the worst.
Asylum was the worst of the 3 for that, because Asylum was not open world, it was more kind of Bioshock. In the sense that, oh yeah, you're going backtrack and you can't get through this area, so it had that sort of Metroidvania aspect to it. And City, obviously City was more free roaming, and so was Origins as well. And I can deal with that more. Navigation is not my strong point in video games, and Blackgate just fucked me over completely. And I'm not the only one who thinks that either. If you go to almost every review about this game, everyone is like, yeah, so the map. Like, yep, the map. Yeah, that was not brilliant. Didn't like that.
Do you think if the map had been top down, it would have been better?
It might have helped, certainly. I think
So that you would have had a better grasp on like what direction you're facing, where you are in the space, like all of that.
I mean, ideally, I just would have wanted the game to be flat 2D the whole way through. And then, like, toss the free flow combat system out the window. It clearly doesn't work in 2D. Try something else. Just do another combat system. I would have just been happy with a fucking 16-bit brawler. That would have been okay, but that's not what we got. And it is a mess. So, no, absolutely not. Not worth it at all. And I played just a bit more Age of Wonders 3, which is still devouring my life. It's good. I kind of put it on the back burner because of FTL, but Age of Wonders 3 is absolutely fantastic. I started playing... Oh, I don't think I can... Can I say that? Yeah, pretty sure.
Say it. Let it out.
I don't think I have an embargo. I don't see one in my list, so I don't think I'm breaking embargo on this. Plus, there's footage of this on the internet anyway. The people
Go
who have the beta. I played a bit of Warlock 2 Exiled.
Oh.
And I believe, NorthernLion, you played the original, didn't you?
Yeah, and I played a little bit of Warlock 2 as well.
Yeah, I played a bit of Warlock 2. I'm not noticing too many differences yet. Like, it feels really familiar, compared to the original. It's very, very similar.
Yeah, I know that some of the stuff that they're kind of hyping up for a sequel is like the map editor, so you can create your own like custom scenarios and maps and stuff like that. And it feels like... I don't know. What I played was like a 90-minute demo at Paradox's convention, but that was like almost 3 months ago now, so it might have changed a lot since then. But it felt pretty similar. I thought the interface was maybe a little bit more streamlined, but I also found myself like accidentally casting spells on my own units a lot by accident, but that could be my usual level of ignorance, willful or otherwise, I guess.
Yeah. Warlock 2 is nothing like what I thought it was. I thought you were talking about an entirely different game. This is
What were you thinking?
This is like it's a game where it seems very much Skyrim-y, but you're a wizard and you destroy stuff. I can't remember the name of that one, but this is not it at all. This is an entirely
I don't know what that is.
Entirely different style game.
Oh, you think of Lichborn? I think you're thinking of Lichborn. We talked about that on the podcast a few weeks ago. And apparently it has an FOV of 60, so like, nope. We'll see if they fix that when it comes out. I can't imagine how terrible that would be if I got a first-person magic game where you're looking through blinders like this. God, it'd just be so bad.
Is this game? Does this game play similar to the old? Does anyone remember the old? Oh God, this is
it's
like
not about
90s.
Master of Magic by any chance?
I was gonna maybe for the. I was just thinking about the game Warlords and Warlords, like all the different Warlords games.
Yeah. Oh Jesus, that's going
those
back a
were
little bit.
amazing games. But that's like early '90s gameplay.
Yeah,
but yeah,
well,
those.
I would
is that
say it
similar
was-
to this?
Kind of, because like Age of Wonders and Heroes of Might and Magic were both kind of inspired to some degree by Warlords, at least with their continued development. Warlock is like, let's take a little bit of Master of Magic and toss it into Civ 5, basically. And it's very, very, very similar interface and things like that. And I mean, it's the original Warlock was pretty good for what it was. I was definitely okay with it. I enjoyed what I was doing with it. Warlock 2, at least so far anyway, I've got it's a couple of days until it comes out, so I've got to keep looking at it. It definitely does feel like more the same though. That's so. I don't know if I'm 100% okay with that because I've been playing a lot of Age of Wonders, and this seems like a really bad time for Warlock to come out because Age of Wonders is a more combat-focused game. It's a more RPG-focused game. A little bit less Empire management. I do like the fact that there's more Empire management in Warlock, so you're managing economy and things like that a lot more than you would be otherwise, but it's still nice. It's just very similar to the first game.
Maybe you can tell me
sure
if I'm playing Age of Wonders 3 wrong, because I have like 3 or 4 hours in it, and when I play it, I'm like this is. I really like the combat a lot. I'm really into that like strategic turn-based combat, but people have told me like I shouldn't be playing campaign mode. Like the campaign mode is just a tutorial basically, and I'm
No,
like,
it's
well,
bullshit. Campaign mode.
oh,
is awesome.
okay. All right, I never realized that you're just supposed to play like sandbox style, I guess, like the way you would in Civilization.
You can do that. But the actual campaign
man.
is good, in my opinion. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in that campaign. I enjoyed the campaign a lot. And I don't usually play campaigns in games like that. I never play the campaigns in Heroes of Might and Magic. I just play custom games all the time. But no, I actually quite like the Age of Wonders campaign. But yeah, Sandbox is fun, because it does give you access to all the races, all the classes. You can come up with great combinations. I'm playing a game with a Dwarven Dreadnought, and it's fucking awesome. I've got flame tanks and land ships and spy drones everywhere, and the equivalent of a magical nuke. It's kind of neat. Yeah.
Fair enough. I think it's just like it's a little too complicated for me as someone who didn't really play those games when I was younger. Like in my formative years, I was playing like All-Star Baseball and Madden and stuff like that. So I never really got that kind of. Hey, you guys all brought up a mobile game that you were playing this week, so let's not throw stones here.
Fuck you! I am the most hardcore quiz up player in the universe.
Like I don't have that kind of like acumen built in. I just never learned how to like manage that many traits and menus and stuff like that. So it's kind of impenetrable for me, but I've been seeing a lot of people be really into it. So I'm curious.
Dire penguins are in Age of Wonders 3.
It's a selling point.
Yep.
Are they just huge penguins?
They're huge penguins with red eyes. One of the characteristics, which actually affects the game, is dedicated to evil. Which is brilliant. They're like pure, like evil aligned creatures. When they went to my army, they had like 0 morale because of like, he's too good. So I sent the dire penguins to their deaths. I got a spell to summon dire penguins. It was fun. I enjoyed that. I want to make an entire army of it. Yeah, it's
just evil penguins.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. There is a quick movement option where you skip the animations of all movement. Like if you just, I believe if you just double click, it just skips the animation immediately. So. Although I suppose in battles, like, you can only accelerate the enemy movement. You can't get rid of it entirely. But yeah, I mean, what looks okay. Like, I need to play some more of it, though. I need to figure out if... And I also need to try the original again, because I played it a long time ago. I need to remember. It's like, what is different here? Because I don't remember. The only thing I think is different from what I can tell where the combat works is that ranged units kind of have a support ability now, where if your melee unit is attacked within range of a ranged unit, they'll provide supporting fire, which it seems really powerful. But I think that's designed to kind of set up better formations with your units. We'll see.
Okay.
It's okay. But yeah, I need to assess it way more. I haven't played enough of it. I think that's about it, really. Anyone else play anything else?
I played a couple more really casual mobile games. Look, guys, I had a really emotional week, and I just wanted to like play games that made me feel
Dodger with a mobile game is ruining the
And
show.
emotions.
I thought that's what I was gonna say. Just like typical. The one lady on the podcast is all
Why don't you get some
emotional.
fucking cashews, Dodger, and stick them in your mouth? Just chomp on them for a while.
Did you not notice I ate something silent for you, internet?
It was soup too. Here's the thing: in some countries, eating
3 years and you learned what the mute button was. Well done.
It's an insult.
Oh, I did not mute.
Oh, you're just very, very stealthy. Okay.
It's soup. It's silent.
No,
It's supposed to make noise when you're eating soup.
it's
Anyway.
that's
So it
means
is.
it's good. Slurping. In some countries, you insulted people.
Indeed.
Campbell's letting the world down.
Campbell's is the McDonald's of the soup world.
Is that what you
Get out
want?
of here.
To be fair, if
true.
you want a can of salt, then Campbell's soup is just wonderful for you.
I don't.
Ah, salt, one of the trifecta of addiction.
Yeah.
Anyway, you should play. There's a mobile game called, I think it's called Blended. It's entirely about looking at colors. This is like some people I know's nightmare. It's where you look at a huge grid of colors and you have to put them in order by hue.
Oh, shut up. That's not even a
It's
game. That's a.
Awesome.
That's an eye
It's
test.
so great. It's so fun. So that's like a fun little puzzle game. And then I played a game that's basically Farmville, but all of the people are cats.
God damn it.
It's called Meow Meow Star Acres.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
should probably
It's you.
say that.
You're the one perpetuating these mobile clone things going on.
Can I just say, what is the difference between a game like Goat Simulator and a game like Meow Meow Star Acres? They're both pandering to different types of people on the internet.
All games pander, though, to some degree.
Yeah, because Goat Simulator panders to people who make games famous, which is a problem.
And Meow Meow, I don't even know the fucking name anymore. Meow Meow.
Meow Meow Star Acres makes you do math problems, simple math problems, like 6 + 1.
Are you
before
getting
you can
games
make
designed for
any
like
decisions.
4-year-olds?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. This game is meant for like straight up children. They were like, what if you can answer 6 times 1, we will let you look at the gem system. And I was like, 6? Like, is this a trick? Like, what am I doing? And every time you make a decision, it says, make sure an adult is with you. And I'm like, shut up. Come on.
We'll be on next week's show, and Dodger's just like talking about a Smurf Village edition. It's like, oh no! Why would you get into that?
Let's like Smurfs, because cats are the bad guys in Smurfs. She's not a fan of that.
Fucking buy FTL. Like, I think FTL is actually selling pretty well, which is good on mobile, because it is $10, which, like, is enough to piss off, like, I just said caverage. Wow, I've become a new word, guys. Caverage. Casual average. Caverage. There you go. Your caverage mobile fan would, like, be turning their nose up at a $10 purchase. Let's talk about Goat Simulator. Let's go to the news. So,
okay.
This should indicate just how terrible the news is this week, when one of the top flying topics is the fact that Goat Simulator will receive free content, getting a free content update, and that will include, I believe, an additional map. And I think probably more mutators, I think they were saying.
It's the smartest thing they could have done. I'm not gonna lie.
Wait. They said specifically, when Goat Simulator was created, they were like, we're never gonna patch this game. We're never gonna fix anything. We're never gonna add to it because it's meant to be a buggy piece of shit.
Yeah,
and now,
exactly.
Look what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. They're the opposite of Flappy Bird guy. They saw money and they said, we're not gonna be some guy who's gonna go off in the middle of nowhere, Vietnam. We're gonna be like, fuck it, let's roll in that shit. And I appreciate that. They know that this is gonna be the thing that's gonna make them money, and they don't give a shit. That's shameless, and I love it. Because honestly, good. They made a game that was designed for YouTubers to exploit audiences. And exploit it did, and views it got, and money they made.
Can I point out, like, the audience for this game is obvious. When you go to the news page about it, it's on Facebook. All the top voted comments are fucking memes. Every one of them. There's like a good guy Greg here, which like knows gaming community wants DLC, gives it in form of free update, because no one has ever given away a free update to a game ever. 470 thumbs up. Some fucking cat thing that says heavy breathing. Some other thing which says, oh, goat, yes. Shit, just goat serious. Some fucking Ron Paul thing. There's a husky in there somewhere. There's some ripped off cartoon that has JPEG encoding. Yeah, that one.
Face?
Yeah, this is it. This is who this game's aimed at. People that love the fucking Maymays. Is anyone even surprised by that? Apparently, it'll also add local split screen multiplayer, implying that any of these people have friends.
Good on them.
Wow.
I'm not gonna play. I played it once for Fan Friday because people asked me to play it. I have no intention of ever playing again.
No. Good
for them, though. You know what? Good. Make millions of dollars, and you won the internet. It's like when companies figured out that guys will click on videos that have boobs in the thumbnail. You won the internet that day. Now everyone does it, and everyone's like, you know what? We get it. We're past that. But for a brief moment, they won the internet. Today, Goat Simulator they'll ruin it for themselves, and someday in the future, they'll be just a distant memory. But for now, let them enjoy their time. I say good.
The internet is responsible for Goat Simulator. They allowed it to happen, you know? It was like, first they came for the homosexuals, but I did not speak out.
Not.
Because I was not a homosexual. Like, that's what happened with Goat Simulator.
No. This has nothing to do with the Nazis, TV. Nothing.
Oh, I'm baiting hard now. Let's see how many people I can hook in. How many can I hook in with that?
The big downside to this whole thing is that they've pissed off so many devs. Like, there's so many devs that have openly been like, I cannot believe
I spent years on my creation, and
yeah, like just the whole idea of you're gonna make a piece of shit and make lots of money off of it and make everybody else feel like it's okay to make pieces of shit and make money off of it, but at the same time it's like that's not their fault. That's our fault for continuing
you
to
bought
play
it. You bought it.
They would do. Here's the thing. I know a lot of them. I mean, not personally, do I know a lot of them, but I would imagine a lot of them. It's less, oh my god, I can't believe this guy ruined it for everyone, and more like, fuck.
Why didn't I?
How did he pull that out? Yeah. Why didn't I think of something like that? And I know a lot of it. It goes back to when you see someone on as a YouTuber, when you see people on YouTube who overnight shoot up 5 million subscribers, you have that moment of like,
fuck.
God damn, what did they do? And you watch their videos and it's like, me and my friends are playing games. And it's like, God, why didn't I do this shit? And then you're just like, you know what? I'm good with me. I'm good doing
me.
You justify yourself.
It's like, I got credibility. I got credibility. I might not be as popular as those guys, but I got credibility. I know I got to work a lot harder, but I still got my dignity, man.
You have to justify it to yourself, when in reality, the first thing you're thinking is like, I wish I would have thought of this. And then you're like, oh, man, everyone's a PewDiePie now. In reality, look, guys, if I could justify being insane in every video and not want to die at the end of the day, I would do that in a heartbeat. It takes a lot of work. God bless those people who every video is like, I can't do that. I'm too old for that shit. I can't.
Some people were born sociopaths.
That.
Some people made themselves sociopaths.
That's what I'm saying. Like, don't hate the player, hate the game, man.
Yeah. Oh, I hate it. Don't worry, I hate that game. Although if I'm going to be fair and not just like pissing people off now, because I'm kind of just poking the beehive, because that beehive is really easily offended and hilarious. But I'm glad that they're adding a new map to it, because one of the problems that I have with that game is there's just not enough content to justify the fucking purchase. I get bored in about 20 minutes. And adding a new map will definitely help with that, because it seems like all of their fun there is based on the things that you find in the map and not emergent stuff, which I think completely misses the point of what a game like that should be. Is the physics end is just not good enough to do a lot of emergent stuff, I guess. I'd rather play Saints Row 4 and do crazy shit in that than do crazy shit in Goat Simulator, because there's also a game there. So I can play that game once I get bored of doing crazy shit. But they are adding another map, which is good. And local split-screen multiplayer, it's cool that's in there. New goats, which one assumes, more unlockables and stuff like that. Great. Okay, cool. I'm glad that they're adding to that. I think that makes it an easier value proposition for some people. I still don't really want to play it, but I'm glad that they're doing that. That's cool.
I think that Goat Simulator is like a funny idea. Like, if you read that on paper, you'd be like, yeah, that's all right. That's kind of funny. You play as a goat. That's weird that you don't do that very often. But it's not that funny to actually play, in my opinion, at least. So I kind of feel like it's like the snakes on a plane type thing, where people are like, snakes on a plane, that's so weird
hilarious
and absurd.
And wacky.
Yeah. And then you watch it and you're like, it's not really that funny, even though I'm kind of into it. This might be a bit of a divisive opinion, but I don't necessarily know. But yeah, I just don't have that much fun playing Goat Simulator. But as an idea, I think it's kind of funny, but that doesn't really mean that much.
I think a lot of people are like, I want to be in on the joke. Like that's what a lot of this seems to be. And there are some people going, I got 15 hours of fun. Like, how? Like, there's nowhere near 15 hours worth of shit to do in that game. Not in a million years. And I just, like, what did you do for those 15 hours? We had Super Bunny Hop on last week that said he did all of the objectives in under 2 hours. So, yeah. And I imagine some people could crack it out even faster than that. And after that, there is so little to do.
If you want to know what that, like, the person who's playing it 15 hours, what they're doing, I will vividly remember this till I die. It's the future of YouTube. Get ready, kids. At PAX Prime, I remember standing in line to play some Zelda game that Nintendo had set up, and the kid in front of me, maybe 10, maybe 11.
You have told this story before. I remember it very specifically.
Was playing, and he was like crawling, and he was like making weird like noises as he crawled, and he's like, I'm crawling, and his mom's cracking up, and people are just waiting in line like, we would love to play. And he's going around, and he's looking at like pots, and he's playing with every little thing that there is, and this kid is making a let's play, without any let's play. Like, this is what you can expect. Like, this is let's plays now.
And
it was
the
just like
basis level of observational comedy, isn't it?
It was, and the thing is, like, that if it's done right, is hilarious, but if it's done wrong, is insulting to comedy. And so you're just like, oh no. And that's how you get 15 hours out of it. You go into every nook and cranny, and you, like, there's one part where I got my head stuck on a fence and it wiggled, and I laughed, and I was like, oh, that's funny. And then I moved on. But I guarantee, if that's your brand of humor,
an entire episode.
You're there for an hour cracking up,
climbing up and down, just like,
yeah, and that's what it is, and it's just like, okay, sure, great, that's who it's designed for. And again, I feel like if they can make something out of it, good. If that's
Coffee
if
saying
that's
you're
your
a good
bag,
dev. If that funds the next Sanctum game or whatever it is they want to do, then fine. Good on them for that. I definitely don't get why people were so defensive about it. That I got more dislikes on that video than I can't remember the last video I had with that many dislikes. Let me put it that way. I can't remember which. I think it was the one where I said that used games were literally Hitler and that anyone that supported used games was destroying the games industry. I'm pretty sure. Actually, I don't even think that video got that many dislikes. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna do a comparison. Let's see if people that like Goat Simulator were more offended. Because bear in mind, I did that entire video. I called it the Devil's Halibut, for God's sake. Like, yep, Goat Simulator has more dislikes than that one. That was an entire video based on me devil's advocating the fact that used games were terrible, everyone that bought them was terrible, and that they should be destroyed, and supporting the Xbox One's policy of doing that. And people hated me more for not liking this fucking goat game. My God, what is wrong with you people?
With Goat Simulator, it's like there's like one camp of reasonable people in the middle who are people who can think for themselves and think critically. And then on the two sides of the spectrum, there's extremes where people are like,
people
if you don't like this game, you have no sense of humor. Like, you're whatever, grandpa, like, go home. And then the other side is like, oh, if you do like this game, you're an idiot and you're like the cancer that's destroying the industry.
Oh man, I love the Defender's quote from the arsenal of people that love Goat Sim is like, oh, I guess you just hate fun. Like,
right, yeah.
What? That's a bullshit answer. Like that doesn't mean anything.
That's a standard reaction, though.
the game is fun for 10 minutes, maybe. Like there's a moment where even when playing it, I had to edit down an hour into like 20 minutes because there's moments where just nothing's happening and I'm running around trying to find fun. And I was like, well, this is boring as shit, and I just edited it out. Like that's what the game is. It's actively trying to find fun in a little tiny map, and then something crazy happens. Like, oh, that was fun. Or like you make your own fun, where it's like, I'm gonna make a man fly off a treadmill because it's going really fast. Ha! And he flew into a car and exploded. Like it's there's moments of fun, but it's not. The game itself isn't fun. It's a silly thing that I don't know. I don't particularly like it, but I do not hate those guys for making it. I think it's a genius idea. Good on them. I hope they make a fortune. And roll around in the money and just
well, I don't know. I'm hoping it doesn't just start causing a lot of more of these games to come in.
No, good.
I think it
will.
Look,
this is how it works, though. What's going to happen is there'll be more of these games, and then it will just die. It will die, and that's fine. Let it die, and then people will never want. Like, remember that awful? Oh my God, give it 5 years. People are like, ugh, what a shitty game. Good.
The big thing that, and this is going to sound really dumb, the big thing that really upset me was that Tall Goat is just a giraffe. I was like, it couldn't be a giraffe frame with a goat body on it? That would have been funny. But it's just a giraffe, guys.
They even fucked up the giraffe joke. Oh, man. These... Yeah, I think people, according to chat, they had the problem that they thought, like, in my tone that I was condemning them for, like, liking the game. Like, no. If anything, the only thing I would ever condemn, and this is the same with like Twitch Plays Pokemon, it's like of people that ran that shit into the ground because they couldn't stop with the epic maymays like all the time. It's like, we want to be part of a community. And there's the Goat Simulator community. Like, you're not a community. You don't know these people. The only thing that you get out of this is you say, I like this, and someone next to you says, I like this too, and then you feel validated as a person. Stop defining your identity by the fact that you like Goat Simulator. What the hell's wrong with you?
The internet is a fickle mistress.
It is.
And I just want to point out that if you go on places like Imgur and Reddit and you see things like if you're looking for Doge images, you won't find many anymore because they're slowly disappearing. And it's because people are sick of it. And the same thing with Twitch Plays Pokemon. People
that's basically dead.
People just have given up. And it was, if you remember, it was literally everywhere. And then they brought it back for another time, and they're just slowly died off.
Halved the viewership at that point. Mm-hmm. Right now, it's at 9K now. This is at its peak. Like, when it was doing the first one, it actually peaked over 100K. Now it's at 9. Last night, I saw it at 5 during American prime time, 5,000, which is still quite a lot. But, like, we're crushing it with this podcast alone. So it's... And I mean, I don't know if you blame the subculture surrounding that for running that into the ground.
I blame the subculture for this. I think internet culture in general, it picks up on something that's like, oh, this is funny. Let's all jump on this bandwagon, and then they beat it into the ground. And because of the internet, it's 20 times quicker than it normally would be.
Yeah, and then the counter jerk starts very fast at that point. It's like, all right, okay, here's the circle jerk, and now I want to be counterculture. I want to be the counter jerk to that, and blah blah blah. And then people start really hating it. For me, I think the whole. There's two sides of Twitch Plays Pokemon. The first one being that some of the stuff that actually happened was very creative. I like the idea of adding context to chaos. But then, what actually ruined it for me is the bullshit repetition of everything. Absolutely everything. And then the demands to allow you to... Because people start try-harding it. It's like, we're going to beat it. We want to beat it. It's never the point to be able to beat it. And now that's all it is. Like, I think they may have taken Democracy Mode out now.
Oh, really?
But when they put Democracy Mode in, that basically ruined the whole thing for me. It was like, you've just defeated the point. Because a bunch of you wanted to try-hard it. And I see it everywhere, even like my Hearthstone videos, like, you should optimize this gimmick. No! The point is it's a gimmick. I'm committing to this gimmick. So, but if you put this card in, yeah, but I'm doing an all-epic deck. So, I can't put a non-epic in it because that defeats the point of the deck. Yeah, but it's not very good. That's the point! It's the point! Why must you try and min-max everything? But yeah, I think it was a combination of just running it into the ground. And it's a shame because there was some actually really creative stuff created from Twitch Plays Pokemon, and then it was repeated into the fucking ground. The idea of the Helix fossil religion and shit like that, and the dome, that's kind of clever until people repeat it ad nauseum until you want to kill them. And that's the entire internet. And
there you go. That's what's going to happen with Goat
Simulator is a game of that, you know?
Mm-hmm. Give it time.
Yeah, basically... Goat Simulator is like Lou Bega's Smash 1999 hit Mambo number 5. Everybody's really into it, and then in like a year from now, people are going to be like, what the hell were we thinking? Mambo number 5? He's not even Latin. I don't get it.
Here's the thing. And this is what makes this whole story great. 20 years from now, maybe 15 years from now, people will be playing this game again, and it'll be hilarious once again. And that's good because the completionist, Gerard, has Lou Bega's album and many other albums that were bought for him, and they're all like brand new songs. It's amazing. And that's like 15 years later. That's what I'm saying. Like, eventually it'll be funny again, but we're gonna beat it so much into the ground, it'll be dead. Good. It deserves its lifespan. Congrats on the guys who figured out how to win the internet for today. They made money. The world moves on. And someone else will do something just as crazy next month, and we'll be like, I can't believe it. And we'll all be like, fuck, why did I do that?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I guess so. The thing which I think bothered me the most about the whole thing, and you may have got similar comments about this, is the idea that if you say anything bad about it, they basically accuse you of clickbaiting. Like, oh, you know it's popular, so you're saying bad about it because you know you get mad fanboys come along and rage at you for it. No, we just actually might not like it. That's actually a possibility. You realize this. That people have different opinions.
You're always going to get called out on that because that's
I do all the time.
People assume
really
that's what you're doing all the time. Like,
which
if
is
it's something
not remotely
true.
true.
Something that
it's like, oh, you never like popular games. Like, I like loads of popular games. Are you kidding me? Like a boatload of them, but I just don't like all of them. That's okay, right? Surely.
The criticism that really bothers me is when people are like, well, if you don't like the game, why would you even do a video on it? Like, why would you give it exposure if you don't like it? And you're like, you only want reviews of good games? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm not a recommendation channel. Like, I'm a criticism channel. So sometimes there will be games I don't like. In fact, quite often. I'm still trying to figure out whether or not I'm doing a series right now called Steam Sells, which I decided to do because there's so much stuff coming on Steam right now that's old or shovelware or whatever. It's like, I've got to do a series on this. So I started doing things like Desert Thunder and Shannon Tweed's Attack of the Groupies and shit like that. And some people was like, oh, well, why are you even giving them exposure? Like, because I make videos for a living. That's why. And if there were, And people are like, oh, why did you just make videos of good games? Like, well, not one, there might not actually be enough good games on any particular given day to cover. And secondly, when I've tried to do that, and I've released too much of that at once, people don't fucking watch it. So it's like, there's a reason why channels don't run the same show over and over and over and over and over again for 12 hours unless they happen to be G4. There's also then a reason that G4 doesn't exist anymore. So you've got to give them the variety.
Oh, Esquire channel.
Yep. Which actually does bring us on to a nice little piece of news. Well, I wouldn't say nice little piece of news, but something we could briefly cover before the break. And that's the fact that Adam Sessler has left Revision 3. And
Really?
From what we can tell, he posted something on Tumblr. He actually set up a Tumblr for this, which he called X-Cess, which was like, hey, nicely done. And where he's basically like he's taking a step back. He's taking a step back from gaming in general and is not like going to be doing it. Claims basically he's been doing it for too long and he wants to do something else. And to be fair, I don't blame him. He's been doing it for a shitload longer than most people. I think the only person I can think of that's been doing it for longer is probably Jeff Green. And that will be about it. And Jeff Green's old. Handsome, but old. And that's a bit of a shame. I feel Rev 3 Games is in a bit of trouble now. I mean, they lost Carboni as well, didn't they?
Yeah. They've lost all of their faces.
Yeah, and to be fair, Cess was their draw, their real draw.
Oh, for sure.
They've been hemorrhaging subscribers ever since this announcement, as you might imagine, which is a real shame, actually. Obviously, it's good for me, because I can't directly compete with them, so more views. But they were a good quality network, and they put out good quality content, so I'm a bit concerned for them right now.
Didn't people at SourceFed and SourceFed Nerd leave too as well? So, all these, we're going to try and make a newsy gaming channel. People are just flooding out of that market very quickly. Dodgers, your time to make a comeback. Do it. This is it.
More news, man. More news.
Bring it back.
News.
Apparently Carboni's still there. That's weird. I thought he'd left.
He announced that he's leaving.
Oh, yeah. So he hasn't left yet, but he is going to.
I think Friday was his last day.
And they lost Max Scoville as well. Yeah. Jeez. That's brutal. Hopefully they do okay. I know Tara's still around, but that is, that's pretty painful.
I think it has to do with what TB has talked about for several weeks. There's no such thing anymore as gaming news. So
no, not right now.
Time to leave.
But be sure to tune in to my show, SourceFed Rev 3 Gaming News, on youtube.com/pressstart-to-continue every Saturday.
She's a liar, and she's infringing trademarks. That's what she does on a regular basis.
Every day of my life.
I feel like that kind of content.
It's been a bad few months for news. Sorry, NorthernLion, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I just feel like that kind of content is it's good, and I like watching whenever I get the chance, but it's also really expensive. And you can look at channels like Rev 3 and you can be like, yeah, they get a lot of views, but when you start splitting that up for a production crew and all the staff that they have, then that doesn't pay as well as somebody who's just farting around a goat simulator for 10 minutes and then uploading it. And even if they get 1/10 the views, it costs them 1/1000th. So
I mean, if you look at the view count on Rev 3 Games, there's no way they're making decent bank on that. Not a chance. Especially obviously over the last few days. Cess was the big draw. Even their goats, they did a goat simulator video and they only got 26,000 views, which must be they did one that did 12,000 as well. That's going to be the least viewed goat simulator video on the entire internet. And that's so everything that Cess did had more views than the rest of the stuff. It's that simple. And he was always the guy leading up the big games and also had the contacts to get them. So, when he does his infamous review came out of embargo. He hit 200,000 views. When he did his Bioshock review, but even then, I think you're right. There's no way I know Revision 3 is a lot bigger than just the games channel, but if you look at any channel that does this kind of content on its own, they probably can't survive if they have any more than the staff of 2 people. It's just not possible. Yeah. A lot of these are one-man band operations in front of webcams because that is the only way you can do it and survive. And even when I was actively doing Content Patch, which was before this 2-month drought of news, even then it was still one of my lower rated shows, views-wise. And it took a lot more effort to actually make that show than it would a general piece of gameplay. So is there a place for that kind of content anymore? I think so, but I don't think it's a big enough place, and it's being cannibalized by so many people are going after the same piece of news. There's hundreds of shows on one issue that's just come up in the news.
I do 2 of them.
Yeah, you do.
I cannibalize myself.
Yeah.
One of the things I think is really crazy about is I, for the longest time, just jokingly, I've been like, yeah, no, I could do this with the webcam. Give me 2 webcams in an hour. I could make the same thing. That a lot of, when I do different things for like big YouTube stuff, when you go to their film sets or whatever, you see they have like 4 $12,000 cameras and like crazy setups and like 20 people on
It
set.
doesn't
And you're just
benefit
like,
you.
this is insane. And I always want to be like, you guys, seriously, give me 2 webcams. We can make this happen, and it'll get just as many views. It is nothing to do with how well you make it look or how good it turns out. It's YouTube's personality based.
That's all it
and
is.
You're throwing money away. People want to see the people. They don't care if it's on a webcam. And in fact, I would say being on a webcam is more genuine than a giant production. And then like, hey, this is Jesse Cox coming to you live. Like, no one wants to see that shit. They watch that on TV. That's not YouTube.
Yeah,
and
no, it's not. And you're absolutely right. You can production values, as long there's kind of a baseline of production values, I feel, on YouTube that's acceptable. If you hit that baseline, that being, is your footage in the right aspect ratio? Yes. Is your volume balanced correctly? Yes. Does your mic sound good? Yes. Do you at least apply the basic tenets of editing? Yes. You're golden. That's the baseline right there. And most people don't even meet that, and they still get fucking watched. I'm always bothered by people. And I'm sorry, Dodger, this might be shots at you as well. They kind of slap a webcam in the corner and don't put a frame around it. And it's like,
Oh, it's my life. Yeah.
it's 5 minutes to make your video look better.
but even then, it's not. No one
actually cares. Yeah, it's
I was
just me.
saying, no one cares. And the reason why people watch Dodger, spoiler alert, is because it's Dodger. Literally, Dodger could make a video called like, which she does technically. It's called Coffee Time. She literally is just gibberish. Like, I'm gonna tell you what I did today, and that's it. And people love it because it's not about what she did.
And I drink coffee and hey.
It's not about
the
what
dexterity
you did.
bonus videos are more often than not higher viewed than the Rev 3 stuff outside of the big game reviews.
'Cause
And
it's
she
nothing to
spends
do with-
nothing on that. Not a thing.
It has, but because people care. People care about, like, you've created like, this is who I am. I'm gonna let you into my life, and people want to know that stuff because it's much more interesting than like, yeah. So today we're coming to you live from E3 with 12,000 crew members, and no one cares about that.
I can barely make a profit on E3, and I do it with 2 people. Yeah. And there's no way, if you're crewing any more than that, and I'm crushing you in views, so there's no way in a million years you are making a profit on E3 or any event. That's really difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's one of the things, like, that's something that I learned back when the switch over from WoW, when we did that years ago, TV.
Yeah.
When I switched over, I right before the end, I had a news show that was like, literally every day it was like, this is what's going on in the world of WoW. It was great. And I was like, screw this.
Yep.
This is the
I
hardest
did
thing I've
Azeroth
ever
Daily
done.
for 160 episodes, I think.
I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm literally done, because the amount of time it took all day to make one really good show, and it was just like, F it. This is for the amount of
Oh,
people
it took
watching.
so much.
I can go play a new map in WoW and get twice as many views. So why don't I just go do that?
Azeroth Daily
That's
could take
how
me
Let's
upwards
Play
of 6
started.
hours, and I didn't even have a camera on that. Like,
Yeah.
that's how absurd it was. There were days when I'd have to spend the entire day just doing one achievement just to do one section of that show. I'm like, fuck everything about this. Like, especially when my interest in WoW, I only kept it going because I was really interested in WoW, and I felt like, I've got to be a WoW channel. And when that stopped being the case, I'm like, screw this. There's more sustainable models out there. And yeah, I'm very scared for networks like Rev3 that are doing that kind of stuff that is very expensive. And there'll be an interesting topic after this break to talk about, actually, that being Will Wheaton's Kickstarter for Season 3 of Tabletop, which a lot of people have actually criticized. And we'll go into that.
Don't criticize, you son of a bitch. He said,
Wait, hold it in. We'll talk about it after the break.
Indeed. That we will. You're watching the Crucial Podcast. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-Optional Podcast. The final 45 minutes, I suppose, at this point, does begin. So, let's talk about Kickstarter, more specifically Indiegogo, actually. And that would be the campaign for Season 3 of Tabletop. They're asking $500,000, and they want to make 15 episodes with that. And it's doing pretty well so far. I think it is over halfway at least up to its goal.
It got 100,000 on day one, so
yeah. Last time I saw it was like at 250K. It will. Pretty sure it's going to happen at this point.
Yeah.
It's at 440,000 now. Yeah, it'll probably by the end of the day it will be funded. But it did receive. There's quite a lot of controversy in many places, I've got to say. I read a lot of complaints about it, saying, there's no way. It was mostly based around the money. Like, there's no way you need $500,000 to make this. Mm-hmm. And then they cited a bunch of other YouTube channels which apparently made very similar stuff, which they did for a hell of a lot cheaper. Although I have yet to see any of those channels with, like, equal quality to this. And this is an interesting topic, I think, because we've just been talking about the idea of personality-driven stuff, production quality, and that kind of thing. So,
I was
Jesse, your opinion.
Well, first off, again, just like to remind you, if this happens, I will be on season 3. Will Wheaton said so.
Vested interest
on his stream. Very
bias.
No, but this goes back to what TB was saying earlier about his personal, what he thinks is a level of good quality production. Right? Other people have even higher, like ridiculous standards, and that's just their personal preference. Like I know someone on Twitter during the break was like, when you go on Geek and Sundry stuff, do you tell them to their faces that you could do it for a webcam? And I'm like, yeah. I tell it to everybody. Like, this is crazy. Give me 2 webcams and a cheese sandwich. We can make this happen. Right? Like that's. But some people look, we want to make a quality show, and we want to go this is how we do stuff. And you'd be a fool to question them because that's how they do stuff, and they do it well. And the thing I just did Unplugged, it looks great. It made LARPing, which many people consider to be very silly and stupid, look freaking awesome. And guys, it was fun. So I'm glad it looked the way it felt, right? And that's the kind of thing that production quality can give you that 2 webcams can't. And so I think for Dodger and TB, having been on Tabletop,
yeah, we've all been on.
You see the production that goes into it, and they put a lot of effort into making it look polished. And it shows on the show. I think you can't fault them for wanting to make a same quality that they've already done before. Like you'd be foolish to say, oh well, cut it down. I mean, if people want to give them money, they will get. If it failed, if the campaign failed, then they would have to find another way. But they're saying we want to keep doing it the way we're doing it. Will you help us? And people are like, yes. And that's all you need to know. People are willing to give them money to keep doing it the way they're doing it. Because just as we just talked about, big YouTube channels like Geek and Sundry and Rev3 and all those ones that came during that push, like we're going to make nerdy culture videos, none of them are doing so well. I mean, that's just fact. And I don't know numbers, but it doesn't matter. Because if you just look at the way channels operate, no one who is a big channel right now is doing well. Because there's not enough money floating around to get.
No, there isn't. And the reason why Tabletop existed in the first place was because it had 2 seasons funded entirely by Google. They got a lot of money to produce original programming of that quality because that's what they wanted. If you were to compare it, let's talk about Table Flip because that's Polaris's kind of version of that. They decided to do it basically with the Game Grumps and Markiplier to create something kind of similar, and it's not as good. I'm sorry. Like, even production quality-wise, editing-wise, it's not as good. It's clearly not using the same kind of level of quality of equipment. The editing is questionable at times. It still does the job, and I think a lot of people would be okay with that level. And a lot of people would be okay with even lower than that level. But as you explained, a level of expectation has been set. As Tabletop is like the cream of the crop, it's the one at the top. It is the best at what it does. I'd have to ask Polaris how much Table Flip actually costs to make, but I can pretty much guarantee it's not making money. There's no way in a million years that
I would be willing to say most. I mean, I don't know, but I would be willing to say most things on a big channel like Polaris don't make money because the amount of time put into it, I find it impossible. Just the amount of money that goes into the production and the people. There's like 1 million people at Polaris. I can't imagine anything makes money there. But it's not about. I would assume it's not about making money.
No, it's about building the brand because they make the way Polaris makes money as a giant multi-channel network is via all of the channels. I pay a portion of my revenue every month. That's pure profit for them. So they work off of that, and they need to build the brand because it strengthens everybody. So if you've got good content on your channel, which, you know, obviously Polaris has been struggling with. But if you've got good content on your channel, then that's good for everybody because, you know, it raises the profile of everybody in this, by association, all sorts of things like that. But they have thrown money at everything. Like the Game Jam, as people are well aware, based on the number that was given out by that article on Indie Static, 400K in a day, gone. You really thought that show would have never made money in a million years? No? And I think 500K for 15 episodes of Tabletop, considering 400K just evaporated in a day for something that never came out, it's pretty damn reasonable. You know, that's what, $33,000 an episode. That's not actually that much when you're dealing with that many people.
Well, and I think like it's just like what. Sorry, Jesse.
No, go, please.
It's totally along the lines of what Jesse was just saying. We have a product. We know what we're getting out of this. We've seen a lot of it. We've enjoyed it. We've loved it. And it is our choice to give money in order to continue getting exactly what we've already seen. It's not like we're going into this blind.
Yeah, I think this is why I've spoke out a lot, obviously, against crowdfunding lately, but there are instances where it's a proven studio doing a proven thing. And I think in this case, like, look, there's 2 seasons of Tabletop already under the belt. We know what they look like. So, all right, either fund it or don't fund it. That's cool. I think if I've got one criticism, it's that he used flexible funding on it. Like, as far as I'm concerned, if he says it costs 500K, then make sure it's on 500K and don't enable a flexible funding option and say, oh, well, if we get less of it, we'll do it anyway. It's not, ultimately it's not being a factor because it's going to get funded at this point. There's no way it's not going to. But I don't know, that definitely left a little bit of a sour taste. Like, I just don't like that option.
That might be the one thing. Yeah, I think of anything out of this, that might be the one thing where it's like, well, if we can't do it for that, we can do it for less. And I think that's where people can draw an argument from, which is, well, then why couldn't you do it for less to begin with? And maybe there are many reasons, like, well, we'll just do less episodes. Or, I mean, I would be willing to say that in the end, if they got less money, Will and Felicia would do less episodes than make the episodes look crappier.
Yes.
I'd be willing to say that. We go to 10 instead of 15.
Yeah.
I can imagine that happening over, like quality over quantity, I think, is a big thing at Geek and Sundry, and good for them. We need channels like that on YouTube. They may not make a cent, but we need them to exist because it adds a different layer to what YouTube is. YouTube can't, I would hate if YouTube was all vloggers and Let's Players. It would drive me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It already mostly is. And
but
really, that's because it's the only content you can actually make money on. As we've just seen, there's no way they could do Tabletop and say, oh, we'll just make the money back in ad revenue. No, not even fucking close. I would imagine, it wouldn't be unfair, I think, to say that the entire ad revenue of Tabletop up to this point from YouTube has most likely not paid for a single episode worth of expenses. That the ad revenue is that bad. If this TV works because they do a shitload of advertising and the CPM on TV is huge. Yeah? Massive. It is not on YouTube. We are getting... we can't disclose CPMs, but hey, I'll disclose my fucking fill rate for last month. 34% monetized views. 34%.
So every time you watch...
That's everybody, by the way, for gaming.
So out of 100 people, 34 of those people actually earn TV any income.
Yeah, exactly. 34% monetizable, and I've spoken to other members of other networks that they're all getting around the same right now. And that's kind of YouTube-wide. So you cannot create this content on YouTube without heavy promotion. Like, you got to have sponsors basically to make it profitable. That's the only way. That kind of content has got to be promotional by its very nature. There's got to be product placement because you can't get away with running that many ads on YouTube. People won't stand for it. Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
People already complain when there's an ad before a 45-minute video that I do. On TV, it's like 20 minutes of a 60-minute show is ads.
Every 60-minute show has a rough 46, 47, 48-minute runtime. Everything else is commercials. Yeah. And
at bare minimum. And they crank out a lot during like daytime stuff is really bad. I was at the doctor's office last week, and we were sitting in the waiting room for about 10 minutes. 6 of those were ads. 6 minutes worth of ads, 4 minutes of actual content on daytime TV. Like, what?
And they do it even worse. They give you an intro to the show, the opening credits, and then 5 minutes of commercials. So that would be like if we did the intro, hey, welcome to the podcast, and then right before we're about to talk, suddenly cut to like 5 minutes of commercials and
Yep.
have fun with that.
They do it
See
in the
you when
middle
you
of
come
content.
back.
They don't even respect the content.
Yeah.
I tried to watch Contagion was on TV. I barely ever watch TV. We have cable solely because my mother-in-law lives with us in the basement mother-in-law kind of suite, and she asked for cable, so we got cable. I don't watch it, but we sat down because I was just like, well, let's just watch Contagion because it happens to be on. It's just starting. Okay, I've never seen Contagion before. It took like 4 hours. Like, and they kept interrupting. And the way they do it is like they mute in the middle of a sentence and they just kind of mute down, they fade down to 0 and then go to an ad. And that was not only that, but the content was sponsored as well. It was sponsored by fucking lawnmowers. Like every break, there was an ad for this lawnmower that was sponsoring the movie, and then 10 more minutes of comment. And that is making money for people. Like, and YouTube is not. So yeah, it's sad that they had to resort to this crowdfunding. But I'd rather that than see them compromise the content for something like TV, because it would suck.
Apparently, they said that the reason why they went crowdfunding is because they'd have to get sponsors if they
Which could compromise it.
Which that's a thing I'm okay with. I think
I'm
that
fine with it.
They said, hey, look, if you guys want to help us fund this show,
Then
please do, and we'll keep sponsors out of it. Which is I'm okay with that. I feel like there's a big, huge difference between this getting crowdsourced and say like a Zachary Levi production getting crowdsourced, where it's like, oh, I have plenty of millions, but I don't want to waste my own money.
A great example of that would be what was it, the Veronica Mars movie?
Yes. Like, we can make this, we just don't want to waste our money on it.
We don't want to spend our money doing it. Yeah.
This is a totally different thing. Like,
Yeah.
And so I think that might be where a line needs to be drawn. Like, this is something where they want to do this, but
In a certain way.
sorry, they're not just rolling around in money like, yeah, we're just gonna take money from the internet. No, that's a big company over Geek and Sundry, and I imagine that it requires a lot of money to keep going. And so if you want the show, and people do, so there's nothing you can say like, oh, well, they're just taking it from the little guy. People want it.
Yeah.
Even if they're giving.
No one was held at gunpoint for this. Nobody.
Nope.
They gave that money of their own free will. I gave money to it. I've been on the show. I'm kind of all three of us have been on the show. Sorry, NorthernLion, but you will eventually.
One of these days.
It's gonna happen. It'll happen, man. Trust me. But we were all on that show. We saw the work that went into it, and I kind of think that gives us obviously a unique perspective on it. And we're obviously going to be biased towards it because we know Felicia, we know Will, they're great guys. We know the show's really, really good.
Super bias. Just
Oh
letting
yeah,
you know.
absolutely. I'll wear that on my chest. No problem. But I don't really see why there's controversy over something like that. It seems, of all of the crowdsourcing, this is very benign. Not only in the amount of money that they're asking for, but also in the reasonable nature of the amount of money, like what they're making for it. So,
I won't hate on anyone who does something similar to this on YouTube, because I feel like, since we're on sort of like a free marketing kind of rant today, at least I am, I feel like if you're a YouTube channel, you can go to someone like, if Rev3 said, we're going to die if we don't get money. If people gave them money to keep going, great. If people didn't, that's why they're dying, because no one cared anymore. And so goodbye. It's been great. Thank you for stopping by and entertaining us, but your time is over, right? It's like one of those things, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I think saying to people, Google helped us the first time. We want to get the show back out there. It's a really popular show. We like doing it. The people on it like doing it. You like watching it. Will you help us? And if people help you, great. It means people care. And so that if people don't, you've learned your lesson and you move on. And in this case, the people have spoken and they want it back, and they're spending their money to get it back. And that's the highest compliment you can ever receive, I think. And so, you can't blame anyone in YouTube, because YouTube doesn't, as many people see things like when you go on websites with like top 10 YouTube earners and they're rolling in millions of dollars. That's not anybody else on YouTube. Like that is an insane.
You can't take PewDiePie's earnings and then compare them to everybody else, because there's no way in a million years, not even close.
It's like taking giant like musicians, like taking the top 10 best recording artists and then putting up against people who every day have to go out and slog it in like I got to go to this bar and this club and keep playing concerts till I'm 85 in order to make enough money. Like that's the difference. There's a reason why people have to put out videos every day, and some people you get a video every 2 or 3 days and they're like, that's fine because I just made $5 million off of that. Like that's life. That's YouTube. That's entertainment. And you can't hate on any of it, but you have to at least understand and appreciate that's the reason why people do what they do. And so don't never be like, oh, you fucking millionaires. Nope. Nope. Not even close.
Wow.
TB.
Unless you're TB.
I knew I'd get him with that one. Oh, that was lovely.
I feel like I actually really like crowdfunding for the most part for that exact reason, which is like, if people are willing to pay you, then who says they shouldn't? The people who aren't paying you say that they shouldn't. But anyway, especially I really like it for content that doesn't work well on YouTube, either because it's too expensive or because it's too niche. If there's like a subculture or something where only 4,000 people are going to watch each video, but 100 of those people want to give you $10 a month, then by all means, like that's awesome that kind of content can survive as a result of passionate fans.
Yeah.
And there's no way that like an expensive show, if a show costs like $25,000 an episode, it's extremely unlikely that it's going to get there just in terms of ad revenue. So if you want those kinds of shows to exist, you're going to have to pay for them. So I really like it on those two ends of the spectrum.
There's services which allow that to happen as well. I'm seeing a lot of, I think Campster went on down the Patreon route, and that seems to be paying dividends for him, because like I don't want to produce content on a daily basis because it's not what I do. I do like I'm saying this from his perspective. He does these really lengthy critiques that take a lot of time to put together. They're very academic. You can't churn them out at 2 a day like I can. That's not the same format. And he'd either have to compromise his content or, he'd take Patreon funding, and that he doesn't have to worry about cranking out a video every day. Because, like, it is being self-employed. If we don't make videos on a daily basis, we basically, we don't get paid. The only thing we have is our back catalog. And there's a drop. I had a 80% view drop while I was away at a Game Vid Expo for a few days. It plummeted. It's still fine because thankfully I have a large enough audience to make it work, but most people don't. And they have to be making videos every single day to make sure that they are keeping up with it.
It's true. I was going to say, apparently it's Zach Braff, not Zachary Levi.
Yeah, I was going to say, Zachary Levi hasn't done anything dickish. I like that guy.
Look, too many damn Zachs in the world.
Zach
there should
Braff
be one
is
Zach.
Zachary Levi, good guy. We like him.
So, my apologies, Zachary Levi. I apologize. Zach Braff, what an asshole. I don't know the difference between the two. I'm sorry. But there you go. No, yeah, I think that's why you see Let's Players make videos every day, like multiple videos a day.
Yeah.
Because you have to.
Well, you've got to find the balance between how many is too much when you're cannibalizing your own work. And what I found the optimal number was 2 a day, and I can't release 2 WTFs in one day because the second one will get heavily cannibalized by the first.
Here's the thing. I found the opposite. Let's Plays are a totally different beast, apparently.
Oh, yeah, because they just want the next part as quickly as possible, yeah?
I for the longest time, I've been like, yeah, no, I'll just do this and this. Yes, apparently, if you play one game and release them all at the same time,
okay, maybe not. Yes, Dodger.
Zachary Levi has totally been getting shit about his Nerd HQ stuff.
Oh, did he do that?
So all the Zacharys?
Oh, all the Zacks.
Zacks are assholes. If your name is Zach.
I've never heard. What is Nerd HQ? I haven't heard of that.
Zachary Levi does a big, like, celebrity socialite party at Comic-Con called Nerd HQ. Okay. And he was like, this year, I want $1 million. And no, I can't guarantee you'll get in. You probably won't.
Wow.
And everybody's like,
yeah.
Well,
wait,
never
so
mind
we donate to you and we won't get into the party? Like, that's pretty shitty. And he's like, eh. So everybody's really mad with him, too. So all the Zacharys. All the Zacks.
All Zacks. If your name is Zach and you go by Zachary, you're an asshole. It's what you are.
I have a couple of times like considered doing crowdfunding for a couple of things, and every time I've just like said, nope, it's not worth the hassle. It's not worth the aggro.
It would be a huge headache.
You have to obtain absurdly high standards to make things work. I won't even crowdfund tournaments anymore for StarCraft. Like, if I can't find a sponsor or pay for it myself, that tournament ain't fucking happening. Because there's so many expectations laid upon you at that point. Even if you are a proven product, you know?
I'm going to let you guys in on an insider secret. Last year, Dodger, myself, and a few other people were planning to do a crowdfunded thing. And the amount of time and energy that went into trying to figure out how to do it properly, it was one of those things where we were like, there's no way we can justify that. No.
Mind.
Yeah, like it became too much. And it was just like, this is the people who can pull it off properly, God bless, because that is a pain in the ass. And I probably will never try something like that because there's too much involved. And then you have to make too many promises to too many people. And that's the kind of shit that gets you in trouble. And I was like, no, not even going to bother. I don't want to make promises I can't keep. And that's things like that die all the time. And so I don't know. Good on Geek and Sundry for getting it together.
Yeah.
Suck it, Zach Braff and Zachary Levi.
They'll put out a good product. I have no doubt of that.
Suck it, Zachs. I'm sure some of you out there watching right now are named Zach, and I'm sure you're all lovely.
I'm sure some of you are like, Jesse Cox told me to suck it. Yay!
Some of them are probably terrible.
He knows me.
All right, let's move on, shall we? Away from that
Yes.
subject into another subject. We have like 25 minutes left of the show. We could talk a little bit more about news. Can we talk about the fact that people are bullshit and made shit up? So there was a news article that came out that said Xbox One will have official Xbox 360 emulator when Microsoft finishes thinking it through. That is in no way what they said at all. So this big news article makes headlines, hits like front page of Reddit, everything else on NeoGAF. Oh, big news, big gaming news. Finally, something big news about the. Except that's not what they said at all. So during a Microsoft Build Developer Conference, there was an audience member that questioned Mr. Frank Savage, who is the partner development lead, saying, are there plans for a 360 emulator on Xbox One? Savage says there are, but we're not done thinking them through yet, unfortunately. It turns out to be really hard to emulate the PowerPC stuff on x86, so there's nothing to announce, but I'd love to see it myself. That does not mean it will have one in any way.
There are plans. Plans are, we talked about it once at like a lunch meeting. It sounded cool. That's literally it. That's as far as they've gotten.
There are plans for Warp Drive. Doesn't mean it's gonna fucking happen anytime soon.
It's true.
I gotta ask, would any of you give a fuck if even there was one at this point? I know we talked a lot about backwards compatibility prior to it, but the systems are out now. They've been out for like 5-6 months. Games are starting to come out of them. Do we actually care about backwards compatibility now?
Everyone says they do, and everyone has a game or two they'd love to have backwards compatible, but everyone has that one game or two, but everyone's like, oh, I don't think I play the other games, and that's why it won't happen. Because no one's like, I have 50,000 games that I love from Xbox 360 and Xbox, and I want to play them again. No one's like that. Very few people are like, yeah, no, that's my shit. I want to play Jade Empire again, or whatever that was called. Like, no one's like, man, I need that
That's
game.
the original Xbox, damn it.
But I'm saying, like, stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like the way that things are going, right? They want to have games from the past systems in a sort of store cloud setting, right?
Yeah, which is what they've been doing with PS3 and PS2 classics.
Yeah, which, look, if the choice that you're making is I can either buy it again on the cloud, which everybody is like, no, I don't want to do that. I already own it. Well, then don't throw away your old system.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
If you want to throw away your old system, then buy the game again. But you already had it, you know? So it's like, I mean, that's a choice. That's a choice that you make.
Again, I think that at launch, it's quite good for those systems to have it because it does make the changeover to the new generation easier. It's an easier pill to swallow. It's like, oh, well, even if there aren't any...
I can still play those games.
Yeah, I mean, I could still have the Netflix and the Kinect voice activation, and I can play Gears of War Judgment. Why you'd want to do that, I don't know. But if you wanted to play that, you could. You could do all that thing.
Has anybody who bought an Xbox One thrown away their 360 or traded their 360 in, though? If they did, that was a dumb decision. Yeah.
Nope, I didn't. I kept mine. I mean, I keep my old systems. I mean, why wouldn't I? Oh, no, I need a slightly larger multi-socket and HDMI cable. Shit, this is really taxing.
Yeah.
Eventually, I will probably get rid of my 360, but it won't be until I am not using it anymore. Comes a point in time where I just don't use it anymore. And if there's a game I love, I'm just like, I don't have time to play that, but I can check out new games. And that's literally why I got rid of my PlayStation 2. Because it was like, there are games on it I love, but I don't ever use them, so I might as well just sell it on eBay and make a few bucks. And that's what I did. And that money helped me a whole lot more than having a console sit in my room with a bunch of games stacked on it.
Yeah.
So it's... I don't know. I like the way that Nintendo has their store. I think that's great. I think
You
I
like the Nintendo store?
I do not.
I like that it exists.
I like that it
okay.
exists. I hate the way they've done it, especially the pricing model on that.
I don't like that you have to go from the Wii U to the Wii to the store. I think that's stupid as hell. But I am totally okay with the fact that if I want to buy old Super Nintendo games that I liked, I can just go there and buy it. Mind you, might as well just emulate the damn things and put it on ROM. But whatever. I think that the fact that it exists and it's there, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. If you want to pay a bit too much for a game, that's fine. But I like that everything that I would want from a Super Nintendo exists there.
Well, I guess that brings us kind of on the topic of HD remakes, because I suppose that's the way around having backwards compatibility, that these big games, examples, Akami came back out in HD, we just had Final Fantasy X and X-2 in HD, there's obviously the Metal Gear Solid games, the Silent Hill games, which were apparently terrible in HD, Resident Evil 4 just got a port to PC again for the second time, which is a bit better than the first time they tried it, which was terrible. Would you prefer... I mean, I guess it's a false dichotomy to say, like, it's either or, because it's not, but to me, I haven't found too many issues where I'm like, damn, I wish I had a PS2 again, because like the games that I kind of want to revisit probably have HD remakes, and they're most likely going to continue to get them as we continue to go forward.
Ace Combat HD 4 and 5 happen!
I would kill for that one, absolutely.
Man,
And I don't have a problem with HD remakes. I think... I mean, I guess it's kind of lazy, and I'd rather maybe that development house was working on new IP, but let's be honest, again, false dichotomy. Would they be working on new IP if they weren't making an HD remake? Probably not. It's a good way to make a bit of money. It brings back a game, polishes it up. More often than not, it adds some really nice features to it. Sometimes they fuck it up, yeah? There's no doubt about that. But I'm happy that things like Shadow of the Colossus HD exists. Yeah, that's a wonderful thing, and Ico HD in particular. I don't know if I'd like to see God Hand HD. I think the charm of that game is that it looks shitty. And I think it needs to stay that way. I want to be able to keep clipping through walls and do it all, punching people into space. And I don't know, if they polish that up, it might not be as good. But yeah, I'm okay with HD remakes. And I think that as more come out, I think the need for backwards compatibility sort of lessens at that point. Because the games you really want to play, you can just, if you want to rebuy them in HD, you can. Or you can keep your old version and play that on your old console, which, again, unless you are living in a pod in Japan, you probably have the space for. So, yeah. If this emulator ever does come out, I don't think it's a big deal. And by the time it does come out, it's never going to be a selling point anyway, because people are going to not give a shit about 360 anymore by the time this thing comes out. It would have been a selling point if it was there on day one. So they probably won't even bother with it as a result.
I don't know. 360 was around for a while. A lot of good games on 360. I think people are going to love their 360s for a long time.
Oh, yeah. But they'll probably just keep them. You know? They won't kind of... At that point, they won't be too worried. I think that the only people that benefits are like the early adopters that are going to trade in their old library for the new one. And then it's like, oh, okay, so you trade in the games that I didn't want to keep, plus the system, so I get some money off the new one. That's cool. That works. And then backwards compatibility might be an issue for them. But and I'm seeing an increasing number of people just hang on to their old machines. I still got my PS2 lying around somewhere. Like, why would I get rid of it? I mean, it's not worth anything anymore. If I want to play my PS2 again, I can just plug it in again, or I can emulate.
Yeah, I mean, how much does an Xbox 360 even trade in for anymore? There's like 100 million of them out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see if I go on I assume if I go on the GameStop website.
Plus, you can buy a new, better one for much cheaper. Like, why would you buy a used one? It makes no sense.
Well, I would never buy a used 360 because a lot of the older models were really unreliable as it was, so that's generally not a good idea. I'm looking to try and find out how much a 360 trades in for. They're doing it. I mean, that's not trade in. That's just how much they sell it for. Like they sell like a pre-owned Blast bundle, which has 6 games, 20 gig 360 for $140, refurbished.
Yeah,
That ain't bad.
No, it's not actually. That reminds me of I think when the PS3 came out, I bought a PS2 because I work at game and I had no money, and I got a PS2 like one of the older ones. I didn't even get a slim. I got one of the kind of fatter ones for £40 with like 5 games, and I got all the games I wanted as well. I got like pretty much the best of. Like, this is great value. Hey, if you want to have great value gaming right now, there are so many options for you. None of them, of course, involve buying the next-gen machines, but you could buy an older console, or you can just buy stuff on Steam for like $10.
Yeah.
Why not?
And we can't even pretend that next gen is the big thing right now, because it really isn't.
There's no game that has really cemented that yet. Even Infamous. I played a bit of Infamous. Like, okay, lighting definitely looks good. It's a step up, but it's not a big step up. It's not a huge leap. Mm-hmm. And to be fair, that was exactly what it was like in the 360. You remember Perfect Dark Zero? It's like, oh, that's gonna look amazing. It looks fucking awful. Let me remind you. I'll show this on stream for you, because this was the next gen killer app on launch of 360. This was what that looked like.
At Christmas time, I was at a GameStop, and people were buying 360s for Christmas. Like, that was their gift.
Yeah,
and so, spoiler, they aren't going to be buying any new consoles anytime soon. That's the gift they got for Christmas that year. So to think that, like, oh, just wait, this is going to take off. Next gen has got a long way and a lot of games to prove itself with before we are on everyone owning a Xbox One or PlayStation 4. Not going to happen.
That was the like big killer app launch title on the screen right now. Jesus. The character models it looks ancient, doesn't it? And
I hate you so much. The minute you played it, it went to a commercial for a truck. So I have no idea what you're talking
That happens to me all the time.
You're like, look at this. I'm like, it's a truck. This looks pretty good. And I was like, oh, wait, no, this is a commercial.
Oh, it's an actual truck.
It's because you don't have because you logged on. Leave it open. That's the best way. No, I mean that was a killer app launch title for the 360. And it was about as good as it looks, i.e. not at all. And it's a similar situation now. Dead Rising 3 did not blow my mind graphically. The two big titles that are kind of battling it out on the graphics stakes now are Titanfall, which doesn't look that good even on PC, let alone on Xbox One. It's not an incredible looking game. It looks old. And Infamous, which is probably the best looking next-gen console title right now. But it's still not... I mean, it doesn't even look as good as Witcher 2, and that's a game that came out several years ago.
I am mesmerized by the way that guy in the helmet runs. That's the funniest. It's like he's floating off the ground. Yeah, it's great. He's got a little swagger to him. I like it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I know that people sometimes treat the Wii U as separate from the Xbox One and the PS4, but I saw a tweet today from the editor of... now I've forgotten. I think it might be CVG. And he said that as of right now, the Wii U is as old as the Dreamcast was when Sega canned it, and it sold half as many units as the Dreamcast did at the time that they canned it. And I'm not trying to say that Nintendo's going under or anything like that, but it feels like this has been a really weird, like, non-starter next gen so far. Like, I have all 2.5 of the next gen consoles, and I just like... I want to play them. I find myself just like browsing the store with like this zombified look on my face.
Yes.
Like, I can't play anything. There's nothing to play.
Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, for Xbox One, I have Garden Warfare, and that's about... And Peggle 2. It has actually got more playtime on my goddamn Xbox One than anything else. And on PS4, the only game to play, basically, until I think... I won't even play Murdered on there, because apparently Murdered's coming to PC as well, so screw that, I'll play it on PC instead, is Infamous. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Like, and to be fair, this is exactly what happened when the PS3 and the Xbox 360 came out. People bought the 360s, and I was working in-game at the time, and I was trying to sell them games. Good fucking luck. I basically sold copies of Cameo and some sports games. I could push them until Fight Night Round 3 came out and Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, and then Oblivion. There was no way to sell that system. And for the PS3, the only way to sell that system was Resistance, and that was it for 6 months. Yep. But it's weird that you say about the Wii U right now, because the Wii U actually has the best back catalog of all of those 3 systems, if you count it as being part of the next gen. It actually has loads of good games right now that you can play.
And indie games are on there too.
Some are, and they're pretty good.
It's so silly. But it's Nintendo, and I firmly have believed this for a long time. They're going to end up like Sega, making Nintendo games without Nintendo consoles. And I just, it doesn't make any financial sense for them to keep making consoles that aren't. I think 3DS is genius. I think they should keep making handheld consoles forever.
Course. Yeah.
But to make they cannot compete with Xbox and PlayStation. They can't.
No, I don't think so. And I think it's just unfortunate that the gimmick didn't catch on, really. It's a nice system that has some usefulness. Like, the way that the pad works is pretty cool. The back catalog right now is good, but it never got the traction. So
I actually really like it as a device, but I just I'm getting really kind of fatigued of just being like, oh, well, what's the next killer app coming out for Wii U? And it's like, oh, well, there's this first party Nintendo game in 3 months, and then there's this first party Nintendo game in 8 months. And I'm like, I get it. Yeah, like the vast majority of the things that seem like must plays on the Wii U are first party Nintendo titles, which is fine, but it's kind of exhausting to own a console just to play one publisher's games.
It really is. And that is really what is going on with that system right now. It's them and Platinum. Like, those are the two developers holding up the Wii U right now. And everyone else seems to like, well, we're never gonna make an exclusive game for this system, so you're getting ports, and they're gonna be worse, and they're gonna be lacking features, which is like, I think that's probably hurting it more so than anything. Because right now, why would you own a Wii U if you wanted to play multi-platform releases? You wouldn't.
It's all good. I mean, 90% of the time I see people playing Wii U, it's all goodwill towards past games and new games that make them feel like they're in the past. Like when Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze or whatever that is came out, everyone I saw playing it, it was, oh, this reminds me of this, and oh, there's a hidden thing in here because there's always hidden things in Donkey Kong games. And it was like when they go underwater, like, oh, look how beautiful this looks compared to the old one. It's all comparison, and it's all about what they felt about a past game. There's nothing to do with, oh God, I love Donkey Kong so much. Like, that's not, I loved Donkey Kong Country 1 or 2, and now I love this. Like, that's... Yeah.
I know over the past 4 months, there's barely been anything that came out for the Wii U. Like, there's been about 15 games at most, and a lot of those are kind of indies as well. Like, Unepic came out in January, which is obviously a PC game that's been out for years. Donkey Kong, I believe, was the only major first-party release. We're still obviously waiting on Bayonetta 2. That'll probably be when I power up my Wii U again. I use my Wii U for a little bit of Monster Hunter, for Wonderful 101, and then for Bayonetta. And I would much rather play Bayonetta on another system, honestly, because it would be faster, it would be better.
Yeah.
People in chat are saying that the new Donkey Kong Country is really good. That doesn't matter. Most people didn't buy new Donkey Kong Country because it was good. They bought it because
they like the previous Donkey Kongs. Yeah,
and because it's good, that's just a happy outcome. That has nothing to do with, like, people weren't like, oh shit, I've been waiting to hear the reviews of Donkey Kong Country. No, people bought it before reviews even existed because they were like, Donkey Kong Country, yay!
And yeah, it's a good game, but like the problem, Nintendo is people are going to keep referencing that Game Theorist video, which I thought was kind of a little bit obvious for the most part. It's like, oh, gamers kind of killing games. Like, oh, we want the same thing, we don't want the same thing. It was nicely presented, but I don't know if that's really true. People want some of the same thing. They don't want all of the same thing, and they don't necessarily want the games from their childhood back. They only think that they do. Right. And when you see the sales figures on things like Donkey Kong Country Returns and all that kind of stuff, no, actually, they clearly don't. But yeah, people buy Call of Duty every year. These are different people, though. It's like those gamers have kind of moved on to something else. And really, here's the problem with the comparison between the two, particularly when it comes to COD. You have no choice but to upgrade to the next version, because that's what your friends are going to be playing. It's like a sports game. Those games are marketed like sports games. It's yearly roster updates. And there's not... Nintendo properties at this point do not have enough clout. They do not have enough strength to sell systems on their own. And to be fair, they haven't had them for a while. Even in the Wii, the people were not buying the Wii for Nintendo games more often than not. They were buying it for the pack-in and to play the fitness, like the Zumba fitness games. And that's what's scary. Actually, if you lose control of your own console, where people are not buying your console for your first-party killer apps, you're in fucking trouble. I imagine the idea of not buying a 360 for Halo, or Gears. That would be insane.
I'm not like a business analyst or something, but A lot of people in chat are saying, well, to be fair, like the PS4 and the Xbox One don't have a lot of games right now either. And that's true, but they have a pretty encouraging release schedule, and publishers seem excited to actually put things out on them. What worries me is that the Wii U is waiting to get traction, but to get people to put games on it, it needs sales. And now we're like a year and a half post its launch, and it still doesn't really have the sales to encourage people to put anything on it. What we kind of saw with the Wii is like, it started out okay, and then it just became shovelware and shovelware and shovelware by the end. And I don't know if anybody puts out like marquee titles on the Wii U post a year from now or so if
they're not doing it
something
now.
Doesn't change.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
people are still like Smash Bros. And Bayonetta and Mario Kart.
That's the release schedule. And you were talking about promising release schedules. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff coming on the next-gen machines that I like the look of. And then if you ask me what I'm looking forward to on Wii U, it's Smash Brothers and Bayonetta. And that's it. And where will it go from there? I don't like enough Nintendo games. This is something that people have to understand. A lot of people don't actually like the Nintendo games. They're done with Mario. I'm done with Mario. I've been done with Mario for a long time. I'm done with Mario Kart. I've been done with that game for a long time. I never really liked Metroid. So
I will say, play
really
the Mario Kart arcade game, TB. Go to an arcade, play the Mario Kart arcade game. It's fantastic. It's great. Play that. It's better than actual Mario Kart, which is crazy.
Yeah. It does put the Wii U in this really awkward spot, though, because it's obvious that the Nintendo first parties outside of Smash Brothers are really not selling the machine. Will Smash Brothers be enough to buoy it up? Maybe. But then they've got to get the third party. They've got to get the third party devs back, and that's going to be very, very difficult.
The problem with Nintendo and Wii and Wii U is that I don't even know if I call it a mantra, but the way they sell things to a specific targeted audience of younger gamers does not benefit them, because
you think it's not kind of working anymore?
It used to. It's weird that everything Nintendo does is sort of gimmicky. Well, the young gamers are playing handheld stuff, right? Not many of them have consoles, because many parents are like, if you want a gaming system, here, have this so it doesn't interfere with daddy's TV time. Like, that's
Which,
what that's
funnily
about.
enough, was the point of the Wii U, to stop that from happening. But people didn't, either they just didn't market it well, or people just didn't seem to realize. If I track what my kid does, he kind of alternates between the three. He had a year of just basically playing nothing but 3DS, and didn't touch his Wii for ages. He now plays a mixture of kind of Starbound and Terraria on PC, and obviously Minecraft as well. But he also plays Lego Marvel on the Wii U, and then plays Pokemon on the 3DS. And but every kid that he plays with, like his friends, they all play 3DS. Almost none of them actually play home consoles. And then once you jump forward a couple of years, they're then playing on Xbox, and they're playing Gears, and they're playing Call of Duty. So there's this very quick jump between the two.
And here's the problem, is that young kids, especially young boys, they see older boys playing games that are violent and sex-filled and
but
a
obviously
different
they
level.
aspire to do that.
Yeah, and they see that and they're like, that's awesome, I want to do that. Nintendo has nothing in their selection of games in the catalog they have that can lead people to keep a Nintendo system and not jump ship in order to play these other games. Yeah. None of that exists. Maybe Bayonetta possibly in the future, but that's one game, and that's not going to appeal to most of the guys who are like, oh, well, Call of Duty seems awesome. Like, that's totally different.
Yep, and the nostalgia value is not enough for grown-ups either. It's not. My wife grew up with Nintendo systems. Does she have any interest in playing things like the new Donkey Kong or the new Mario? The only time we play, and by the way, the new Mario game on Wii U is excellent. Like, it is the most fun I've had on the Mario game for a while. But I don't want to play it for more than an hour, and I only want to play it with other people. Solo? Fuck no. Half the fun of that game is the same as the other previous Mario games, where you're fucking over the person you're trying to help along. I'm just going to grab you and throw you into a pit. That's hilarious. I'm going to steal all the power-ups, and then you're going to die. That's the most kind of fun to be had there. And I think if you really, right now anyway, if you really want it to be super successful, either you go down the Wii route, where you obviously have that killer app in the form of Wii Sports and the really, really good gimmick, which obviously they failed to do, and they might as well give up on that, or you have some really solid single player games that people actually want to play on that system. And as it stands, they do exist, but I feel a lot of core gamers I'm not picking up a Wii U just so I can play either Monster Hunter or Wonderful 101, because those are the kind of people that look, well, what's going to happen in a year in the future? And the answer's going to be, you're going to have Smash Brothers Bayonetta, and that's probably going to be it.
It's really funny that you mentioned the word gimmick, because that's what I feel like a lot of what Nintendo's efforts have been is gimmicks. And it reminds me of you talking about your Hearthstone decks, which are all gimmick decks. And sometimes they work amazingly, and many times they fail dramatically. And that, I think, is Nintendo's legacy, is they're all gimmick all the time, and sometimes they will hit home runs, and it'll be amazing.
Yeah, and I think we
but
only
most
ever
of the time,
remember
they'll
that,
fail.
too. We only ever remember the home runs. It's like, oh, they made so much money with the Wii, and they really hit it with the DS. Yeah, but Virtual Boy, and that stupid robot thingy, and obviously Wii U, and a bunch of other things they've done in the past have not done
All
that
gimmicky.
well.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, even some iterations of the Game Boy didn't do anywhere near as well as the other ones. It happens. They don't always hit the mark. And it's a risky strategy to be based on that. It's also a riskier strategy to just say we're going to keep hammering home our same old franchises. Because you can say whatever you want about Microsoft and Sony, but they create new IP quite frequently. Nintendo doesn't. At all. When was the last piece of new IP that Nintendo created? I think it was actually Wii Sports, right? Did they come up with something else on their own?
Was it?
I literally don't even know. That's like, they're so off my radar. Because
if it was Wii Sports, then oh fuck, was that their last piece of new IP? There must be something more recent than that. Come on, guys, good. I'm just looking up the Nintendo developed games, and I'm trying to find out exactly like what was their last piece of new IP. Did they? Oh, that was this is a list of co-developed ones. That's no good.
Like Super Strikers, the Mario soccer game on Wii.
Does that really
There was
count?
a GameCube one.
Yeah, that was a
remember.
GameCube game. I think they did another one on Wii as well. Maybe you could. I think you could probably Nintendo Land. Yeah.
Okay.
But then again, that was a selection of minigames based on their previous IP. So, like, when was the last time they made a new character? Don't say the Wii Fit Trainer, because that doesn't fucking count.
That does say. I think it's cute that everyone was all like, "Oh, Wii Fit Trainer, haha." It does say a lot about Nintendo that's their like, yeah. So
someone's mentioning Steel Diver.
Trainer.
I think Steel Dive was actually a co-developed title. Also, it was terrible. That didn't help. Yeah, it was like co-developed with a company called Vitae. So I'm not sure if that really counts. It was also bad. Doesn't help.
Amazing. It's amazing watching chat go through like their memories trying to figure out.
Yeah, trying to figure out when was the last piece of actual new IP they made, and it
really
probably
sad.
was Wii Fit and Wii Sports. Yeah, Wii Fit was probably the latest because Wii Sports was before that, and then before that you had Pikmin, but Pikmin was on GameCube, the original. Yeah. And Fire Emblem's obviously been around forever, and I think it was only okay that came back because it was like they haven't run it into the ground yet.
Oh no.
They might.
Oh, Nintendo.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it's insane. If you think about it, they don't make new IP. And their new IP comes in the form of their machine. And then they put their old games on it with slightly different formats. And it doesn't work.
Are we including Nintendo now in the whole like all they do every year is just remake? It's like Call of Duty and Battlefield.
Call of Duty. Yep.
It's Nintendo Call of Duty. It's another Mario. Oh,
yeah.
Great.
Yep. I don't think you can count Xenoblade. Xenoblade was made by Monolith Soft. They might be owned by Nintendo now, but it was still developed by Monolith Soft, so I don't think you can count that. All right, well, I think it's about time to wrap up the show. We have actually run over time, so thankfully there's nothing interesting coming out the next week, so bugger that. So let's wrap it. Why not? So, let's tell you what's coming up on the show over the next couple of weeks. NorthernLion, what are you doing?
Yes.
What's going on over the next couple of weeks for you?
I'm playing a lot of FTL. I'm going to be taking a look at Broforce. Probably going to be playing a lot of The Binding of Isaac, and that
As usual.
surprises no one. Crusader Kings 2 Game of Thrones mod is going to continue.
I need to watch that. I need to get into that damn game. That seems impenetrable, but I want in.
When you tweeted that I was coming on the podcast, I got a not insignificant number of people that were like, "Hey, it's like drug dealers like trying to get you in." They're like, "TB mentioned that he really likes the idea of Crusader Kings. You should like pitch him on it and get him to play."
I know I would love it, and I need to kind of break into it. I need to get over that barrier to entry.
It's not so bad, if you invest maybe a few hours of like guided practice, then it's just fine. Once you get to the point where you can like have fun while playing and you're not just like completely out of your element, then it's good and it gets great. But yeah, that's basically it. I'll be at PAX starting on Thursday, so there's going to be a lot of scheduled stuff
PAX is
and
happening.
some PAX coverage. Yeah,
I am glad
that's
that
basically
I'm not
it.
Be there.
Lucky you, sort of.
50-50.
Dodger, what's coming up for you?
It's so warm in my apartment, you guys. Oh my God. This last like 20 minutes have just been like,
You were looking like you were dying slowly there. Like, are you okay?
it like slowly got hotter and hotter in here, and now I'm just daydreaming about ice. Anyway, so I have 2 channels. I have Press Hard to Continue, where I do gaming stuff, and I have Dexterity Bonus, where I do a vlog that we were discussing earlier,
Indeed.
where my cats show up sometimes, and I drink coffee, and I talk about really nonsense, but it's fun, so you should come hang out with both of those. And I will also be at PAX. I'm leaving Thursday, so there will be no gaming news this week. I will be at PAX trying to take as much footage as I can, and since my laptop got stolen, I'll be getting a new laptop before I leave. Fingers crossed. So
LA, ladies and gentlemen.
LA.
Jesse.
No, I was so jazzed. Oh my God. Wait, no.
Okay.
Quick story.
Okay,
So
fine.
my laptop got stolen going through baggage security at the airport. And I couldn't prove it, which was really frustrating. And they were like, we have no proof of this. Like, there's nothing that we can do. They totally got busted. There was this huge thing about how the people that they bring in to do baggage security at LAX have been just like running this sham for so long. They put cops undercover to go in and work at this business and find out everything. And they've been slowly giving everybody their stuff back. So maybe my laptop will show up. It probably won't. But I was so jazzed. I was like, ah! Anyway.
Hang on. So they nicked it on the way in? Like you didn't put your laptop in checked? Did you put your laptop in checked, or did you have it hand luggage?
My laptop was in my checked baggage.
Oh, okay.
Which
That is why I never
mistake.
fucking ever do that. There's get a flight case like I have, which like I can put all of my equipment in there. I could put like basically all my equipment I would need to do a convention in this one flight case that I just carry with me as hand luggage. I just bring out this giant fucking laptop, just boom down on the thing. Like, whoa, what do you need a laptop that big for? It's like, yeah, do not put that shit in
I've
checked
learned.
baggage. No way.
I've learned.
That was
but...
costly learning, but never mind. Oh well.
Yep. Anyway, Jesse, what you doing?
Now you get a new shiny one.
Yeah, one that I can actually edit on. Whoa.
Yeah.
What's the
Jesse,
plan?
you're going to PAX too.
Yeah, I'm going to PAX. That'll be a thing this weekend, and I get there Thursday morning, so I'm there early. It's gonna rain all weekend, so dress accordingly, kids. And
Shorts, t-shirts.
Yep.
So
And
excited.
it'll be 50, perfect. And then channel will just I'm just gonna make videos and stuff, and then this weekend I'll probably do a bunch of indie games, like a bunch of different ones, so you guys have something to watch. It's more interesting than just nothing. So there you go. And that's it. Literally just come to PAX. If you're not going to PAX, I will talk to you about it next week on the podcast.
Cool. I am not going to PAX. Oh, Jesse, sorry, did you have something else?
Oh, I was going to say 7:30 p.m. Saturday, Geek and Sundry panel, 8:30 p.m. Saturday, poorly timed. The Polaris Friend Zone panel. So go to that too. I'll be on both of those. I'll be late to the one panel, but I'll burst in when you're all in there, and I'll burst in and be like, "What up, nerds?" That's how I'm gonna enter. So get ready for that. I want you to shout, "Dodger smells like tuna" when I enter the room.
I won't yell that.
No, not you. I mean the crowd.
Oh.
That's
Don't do
effectively
that.
a form of bullying, I'm pretty sure.
Please do that for me.
Oh, man. I will not be at PAX. As I've said, Jen's leg is still not better, so I'm not going to do it solo, and frankly, right now I can't be asked. I'm going to stay at home and work, so will not be at PAX. I might be at Prime, but I don't know yet. I was planning on being at E3, but then I saw the hotel prices, I'm thinking maybe not, actually. Fuck LA and fuck its traffic, and at E3, like $600 a night fucking hotels, just so you can be even close to the fucking event.
Yep.
Fuck everything about that. Outside of that, I will be just kind of rolling on with my usual stuff. There'll be a little bit more Hearthstone. If you missed the Blood Bowl Massacre, then it's on the channel, just like every other fucking week. That's about as fun as you might imagine. I'll be doing a lot more Steam sales because I don't have a fucking choice. There's so much crap being on Steam right now. They just released like 4 more what look like hidden object games in the last 30 minutes. So, I don't know. I mean, sorry, there's the top list of everything on Steam is like fucking Munich Bus Simulator and Dark Law Mysteries, The Hunt for Truth, and it's gonna, I know, I'm just doing what I see. I'm not going out of my way to do this. I'm doing what I see. It's the only shot that I've got. I will probably cover Warlock 2 Exiled, although, as usual, I can't really promise anything. I'm hoping to get a copy relatively soon of the PC version of Dark Souls, so I can at least have a look at it in some way. I don't know. We're dealing with Namco Bandai and that. It's not going too well, but we'll keep trying, guys. We'll keep trying. Outside of that, if there's any news, which hopefully, since PAX is happening, there might be, I may do a content patch of some sort. PAX is not really a time for press conferences, so I doubt I'll do an abridged, although I'd love to do another abridged of a panel. That would be great. But yeah, usual stuff. I'll probably stream a little bit more StarCraft. I'll have a look at... I'm looking at Smite, definitely, because that's actually come out now, so just look at Smite. Lego Hobbit, probably won't look at it. I'm going to be honest. I'm sorry. I'm done with Lego games. They're all the same!
Yeah.
No, I don't think so, but we'll see. Yep, usual content in the usual places. And if you missed my StarCraft stream last night, the VODs, I think, are going up on youtube.com/TotalBiscuit, so you'll be able to watch me play StarCraft Ladder and complain about Protoss. It's pretty great.
Yup.
That's about it. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching the Corruptional Podcast. Please do have a look at us. Under here. See this? Nameplate's there. 3 hours.
What are you asking people to do?
Have a look. Is yours really right there? Because, fuck, man, go get that checked. That seems a bit weird. But yes.
No, you said you're like under there.
No, it's
Under there.
Right here. Yeah. See this right here?
Look.
Here.
There you go. No, it's not in there.
Up here?
Go to our
in here.
YouTube channels.
Up here?
Those are the
In here.
names of them.
Yeah.
Follow us on Twitter.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
there it is.
Twitter.com/TotalBiscuit. Twitter.com/DexPunners.
I got it.
Twitter.com/Jesse Cox. Twitter.com/NorthernLion
Got it.
And
Got it.
it's time to leave because these guys are morons. Goodbye!